Dun, dun, dun.
It says stream. So.
Are we live? Are we live?
Oh my god, we're live.
Oh yeah, I just got the message that the account is live.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Anyone who's following the thing
It's my map.
should. This is going to be really weird. Right, sorry if I get feedback. I'm just checking if it's on. And yeah. Anyone who's following the thing.
It's my map.
Ah, did you all hear that? That was the echo of.
Yes.
This is so cool.
Good, they're live now. I see it. Wow.
Yeah, we're live.
That's really cool.
Oh, what was that?
Sorry, that was the recording biz. I promise I've turned it off now. It's fine. All right, and we're gonna have a much more interesting background. There we go. Ah, not that. This. There we go.
Which one?
Well, the background should change any second now. It should be your Mercer map.
That's so cool.
So, the good thing about this is what I can do is I can put up that and the chat. Which means people can see pictures that we post. I say people as if we're going to have thousands and thousands of viewers.
Well, one day.
One day we'll be world famous and have like millions of followers.
I just realised that I'm going to have to be really careful or you guys are going to see all my notes when I upload things.
Oh yeah.
We'll be good. We won't watch it.
If you...
yes, obviously, we will turn away.
If anyone sees this, there's this. I'm going to circle it now. My favourite file on the computer. And on the live stream, it will now be saying Evil Hierarchy, which is a folder on my desktop.
Oh, that's one. Yes, that one.
Nobody's getting access to
How
that.
high does Kiss rank in that?
Cass is not in it.
Are you sure I'm back?
For now.
For now.
For now, Cass is not in it.
Chaos DM.
It's just we'll work our way onto it.
Exactly. It's all fine and dandy. Alright, you guys, I'm just going to connect my folder to my phone so I can open some things on there and then I can post directly to chat from that without having to open a million windows. So talk amongst yourselves for 2 seconds.
So how are you guys?
I'm good, thank you.
So good. Wow, so good. Okay. So good.
Yeah, Pug always strives for the best, right?
Nice.
Pug always has to one-up the competition.
I'm so excited about the other LARP.
Oh, by the way, guys, I've put a link in the live video, and there's a link to the, well, to all our thousands of listeners, there is a link to the place where we all met, the LARP event at Bothwell School of Witchcraft, and there should be a link, have a look, see, there should be a link in the description of the video.
So there you go, Steve, now you know.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Yep.
Now you know where nerds meet up.
I like how the last sentence above the link to Bothwell is Liches and Trolls and Albert. Oh my. And the fact that a specific mention is cool too.
Marvelous.
I love it. It's so weird though to see like on one screen I see my version of the Discord and such, and then on one screen I see yours.
Wait, so where can you watch the stream?
YouTube.
I can put the link into the group if you like.
Yeah, it will help.
Because I have. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Just before we start, so I'm going to do my other. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
There we go.
What is this now?
This is the link to the live stream we've got going on. If you guys fancy chucking it on and then muting it so that it doesn't come back and interfere with our audio, then you guys can count as viewers and we'll actually have some.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing already.
Yeah, we have 2 people watching. Wow. Oh, 3.
Yeah, I have admitted. I think one of them is me.
One of them is me.
And I'm the last one.
Can't throw one.
I will link it in for my friend.
Hi, Gina.
Bonjour.
Wait,
Hello.
your thing says that you're deafened, but like you obviously hear
Yeah.
it.
Otherwise I'll get a load of echo from Gareth's laptop.
Boo. Okay, so if everybody is ready and prepared to do things, then I'm going to chuck on our temporary theme tune for today, which is temporary until we get a different one. Also, just FYI, every single person in the Sunday party, your XP is now 1,300.
Nice.
You're all gonna start that one. Some of you had maybe a little bit extra. However, that's what you're all at now because, hey, I'm nice and generous to you guys.
Since when?
Thank you.
Don't
Our
anger her.
beautiful Yes.
Don't
It's
anger me
what
when I'm
I
in such a
do.
nice mood. What you doing? And this, my friend, is why I have put the chat as what I want the video to watch, because then they'll get to see things like that. And if it buffers a little bit, it shouldn't matter too much, because obviously it's not a video where people need to see what we're doing, they can just see the chat. So, are you all prepared to hear the magical theme tune I have for you? Are you ready?
So ready.
Yes.
Go for it.
Music.
And their songs. When hours have gone by, I'll close my eyes.
And because we're live on YouTube, I'm just going to have it in the background because we're not necessarily allowed to have all of it playing because, you know, copyright, etc. So, welcome everyone to the first live stream of Blunders Bothwellians, the Wounded Witch edition. This is the Sunday Party of Adventurers. Woo! And believe it or not, you're on episode 7, you guys. Yeah, I know. The shock and horror in your voices just then was magical. It was amazing.
I am so shocked.
I am so shocked. Gosh, I am so overly emotional. Well, it has been a sort of roller coaster for everybody here. You've had party member deaths. You've had
Just one so far.
tears and tantrums. You've had attempted party member deaths of other people. I think that's only fair to point out.
And I think only one straight out fist fight as well.
You've had flying and pixie dust. You've had arguments and tiffs and tantrums. You've had magical swords and chats with goddesses and meetings with various strange random people, and all currently within the world of Mercer. And you're in the country of Travise. And so far, you guys are now wandering. Now, last episode, to catch those of you up who weren't here, which basically meant that your characters were wandering around in a state of, ooh, magical. You guys came
As I
across...
typically spend my life.
Well, just Marissa. You guys, I'll give you the DM version and you guys can jump in. Basically, you came across a travelling circus. And then what? You guys? Do you want to tell them what happened?
Bug set it on fire.
It wasn't my fault. It just kind of like...
Except you started smoking. Like,
The implication being here that you just walked past and it just spontaneously burst into flames. I mean,
well,
that's what I think happened.
the thing is, Pug suddenly like burst out in smoke, and then after the rift in time and space and everything, but
Yeah, there were actually 2 rifts in time and space. Oh, because of Pug as well.
and they were just trying to break up the fight between Pug and Cass that was happening inside a cloud of darkness in the air.
Oh,
All because of Pug. All because of Pug.
I mean, sorry, I'll try to keep my smoking hotness, you know.
Yeah, you got her.
So, the sort of long and the short of it is, you guys, they hung out. They went to some of the little booths and attractions outside the circus bit that were set up by all these little gnomes who were dressed up in various different outfits.
I have a very important question.
Yes.
Did Arissa win anything?
Arissa did play. I took your roles into account before you played. You won, I believe, 2 cream pies to throw at people who went in the fake stocks, and you could throw pies at them.
Okay, that's good.
It was a magical time. I believe you played Whack the Rat. A few of you played that. One of you may have attempted to do the hammer where you smack it down and try and make it ding all the way to the top. Oh, poor Pug. It didn't happen.
I succeeded what I was trying to do. Which looks like a fool, so I won.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Also, I don't know who threw it, but I volunteered to sit in the stocks, and then basically went full on in my entire body. On my entire body. Because...
Yeah, the pie was bigger than you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much. So...
Oh, that kitty is so cute.
What is?
You're purring.
Oh yeah, she doesn't shut up.
That's fine.
Aww. So... all that happened, and you went inside and you watched the show. You watched some acrobats doing some diving about. You watched some very magnificent people doing some very incredible stunts. And
Sparrow.
yes,
that's the one name I've written down from the acts.
well done. And they're all dead now. Well, no, they might not be. You watched a couple do a song and a dance on a tightrope, and just after this happened, you started to smell smoke. And the tent all around you caught on fire. There was screaming and pushing and people trying to get out of the tent. And at one point, Pug, you having had a wound inflicted upon you earlier in the game, which we will explain later, you started to feel tremendous pain, and your body, I believe, started to sort of close down on you, and you couldn't move, and... desperately attempted to walk about, couldn't do anything, and got pixie dusted and lifted up into the air whilst writhing around in pain and being very entertaining to everybody around you. And Pug started to smoke and was black and smoking, not a cigarette, like his body. And then the whole tent was on fire, and some of you worked to put it out. And at one point, you ended up outside the tent and broke back in again. Ariel, you broke out the ceiling of the tent. Several people died, and you all managed to escape with a levitating Pug and landed on the grass several feet away from the booths outside the tent. And that was where we ended it. Previously, in that session, Pug and Kess, what were you doing? Were you having a nice, lovely conversation saying how much you adored each other, or what?
It was very...
Yeah. Very.
We had a mild disagreement, but we worked out our differences. Oh, really?
In the end, Pug agrees to take away the offending sword and just put it away out of... And everything was good then. But he just needs to be convinced of this fact. Just a tiny bit of convincing was necessary.
So for anyone who is unaware, Kess does not like Pug's magical sword because it makes the daylight brighter and the clouds fluffy, and says that it can do magical things and wondrous things. Pug spoke to the sword and has agreed to attune to it, which involves keeping it on your person until your next level up. And when at one point Kess, I believe, tried to take the sword from you, it blasted her with a shield and protected you from her. And then you guys heard a familiar ripping noise in the air, and a big black shadow with the red eyes that you all caught staring at you the other night through a rip in the air stepped out and attempted to grab Pug, or you think grabbed Pug, and in the process the sword cast the shield again and protected you both. And
it definitely grabbed Pug because it left a scar on him.
Yeah.
It was like a little tap tap. He gave me a little tap on the shoulder.
You were completely exhausted and in pain afterwards.
Yeah, you now have like a
It was a
black
very
sort
mighty
of.
tap.
Pug now has a black, like, burn, like,
Look,
scar
man, you didn't roll your
on
performance.
his
Just don't try.
shoulder. And, Cass, you watched that, and you were up in the air. And yes, I believe the rest of you were all eating popcorn, watching.
Yes.
And the big black shadowy thing with the red eyes announced that it would do something, or get her, and might have been looking at you, Cass, and then disappeared angrily.
It was looking at the sword.
Uh-huh. Cass says it was looking at the sword. Pug is not sure.
Well, Cass can see better than Pug, so there we go.
It was very dark. There was like magical darkness, right?
Yes,
Yes, for you.
magical darkness. So that was the magical, wonderful things that happened last time.
Some of us can see better in the dark, I'm sorry. Some of us are just skilled like that.
So, you guys have found yourselves lying on the ground outside the completely destroyed tent where several people died. I believe it was 5 or 6 people died. And you are now there on the grass. It's sort of late evening, probably about 9 o'clock, I believe. Quite dark. And you're not near any towns or cities that you're aware of. You're sort of in the, I want to say countryside, but that sounds far too cheerful. You're in the barren wasteland that is Travise. Surrounded by...
Nowhere, Travis.
Yep, pretty much. So,
The wasteland.
go crazy, you guys. What do y'all want to do?
Well, I went to sleep for a moment there. What happened?
Yeah, so you were not paying attention. Well, should you really know?
The entire circus burned down, so we need a new place to entertain ourselves. I suggest we go to Rog, the capital.
Yes, I believe we have been trying to get to Grog.
Yeah, let's set up camp at the capital.
Should we not take a rest before we set out into the wilderness?
Fun fact, last we heard about Rog was that it was under siege, being destroyed by evil. Perhaps it's best to set up camp before we get there.
Yes, I would recommend that as well.
Alright, if you pansies want to take a nap, fine, we can do that.
I remember you saying the other time as well that, oh, maybe you can take a nap if some other people were feeling like...
Well, that was a while ago. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Well,
I guess
actually,
Hardly convenient.
just 10 minutes ago, you were completely not in control of yourself, levitating and smoking.
I mean, if you're unconscious,
That's a dangerous habit to pick up on.
What's that?
Smoking.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
Oh, don't lie. Everyone with an eye could see what was happening. There's clearly something wrong with it. Oh yeah, and I believe it's destroying your soul, slowly eating it away. It's all connected to the sword.
The soul's the only thing keeping me going right now. We need to be on our way to the capital. So, are we gonna take a nap beforehand?
Oh yeah, do you remember that scar? The one that's going to kill you slowly and painfully.
Right. Well, we were looking for a doctor, right?
Well, I still believe I can just put it out. It would be much easier and quicker if we just get rid of it.
I'm saying that's not happening. Not until we find like a doctor who knows what they're doing, knows a bit about, half-elf physiology, not like Dragonborn physiology, if they even know that.
Of course I do.
Uh-huh.
And besides, you use magic to heal up the wound afterwards. I mean, it's fine to cover a couple of chunks, because you can always just use magic to heal it up.
Yeah,
or are you just saying...
You can't heal up a missing shoulder.
Well, are you just saying you're too much of a pansy to take the pain?
Oh,
Oh no, she didn't.
but missing children and such, do you not remember the guy that had the airship? He had like a missing arm that was just rebuilt.
Yes, obviously, you're just not cool enough for that.
How good is that missing arm? How good is that at punching? Because
the missing arm, probably not so good.
Yeah, it's not so good at punching. I'm gonna keep my arm for right now.
And how about your soul? If your soul gets slowly eaten and shattered on the way, then is that going to be good for punching?
Who needs a soul?
You will die if you don't have a soul.
Plenty of people without souls.
Or were you never living in the first place?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's quite alive. I don't know.
Right, so I'm thinking we need to cut Pod's shoulder off if we were going to heal the wound, unless we find a doctor.
Exactly.
I'm saying
That's
we
what I'm
find a doctor
thinking as
before
well.
we do anything. Because
You do realize we are in a war-stricken country with basically no chance of finding proper civilization anywhere nearby.
Well, you know, something that I've just noticed is that we do have someone in our party who can help, and someone who's been quite quiet up to now, and that's the bard who actually has access to healing spells.
Tell my secrets.
Is it a secret that a bard has healing magic? Was that a secret to anyone? I thought that was just common knowledge.
That's not a secret, but I don't think that's the same thing as a doctor. Like it's one thing to heal up a wound in, you know, like a battle wound, like heal that right up, but it's one thing to like remove.
Which is exactly what it would be like if we just cut it off.
Yeah, that's not a battle wound. Accents are hard, man.
We can make it in one.
You can
accents are hard, are they? Oh, I do feel for you. It must be really difficult doing an accent that you're not wholly familiar with for an extended period of time.
Tell me about it. No, yeah, we're not. No one's touching my shoulder until we find a doctor to actually do that. So I'm not losing my ability to punch.
Right, and where do you suggest we find a doctor then?
Yes.
You can suffer.
If there are war, there must be civilization, because countries gotta fight away from, you know, countries are fighting over something, so there's gotta be civilization somewhere.
But it's not countries fighting over anything, it's monsters and evil attacking the land and destroying everything.
Then it's not much of a war then, is it?
So then are you suggesting that we go onto the demon plane and ask some of them to help your little boo-boo on your shoulder?
No. I'm suggesting we keep on our way. There's gotta be some kind of knowledge or something that can help me in the capital. Like some kind of libraries or books or something.
How far away is the capital?
Well, the capital of Rog, and I'm going to put the picture up again so it's on the bottom of the screen for everybody. Currently, in fact, I'm going to put up the favourite map, which you just missed, you weren't here for, which is where the players have been. And the yellow dots...
Yeah, halfway to Rog.
The yellow dots are you guys. And when it's finished processing, yeah, here you go. And it'll be on the main screen. So you guys started in Travise, you went through the wood pass, you believe you found the remains of Dents, a town city that got destroyed, and you are now on your way towards Rog, the capital. It's gonna be another few days, like at least 2 to 3, to walk there.
Okay, and how long does Pub have?
To be honest, the question is, how long do we have until Pug goes crazy like he did in that tent and kills us all?
That was
But it happened. You killed 10 people straight out. You could kill us anytime.
You guys are tough. You can handle it.
Instantly destroying the souls of these people. That's what you did. You could instantly kill us and rip out our souls any moment if we leave it untreated.
Like you have a soul cast. I am gonna keep on my way to the capital because I'm feeling fine. Are you guys coming or not?
Can I fly up in the air and see if there's any like horses or near the circus?
Yes.
Good
Roll up
idea.
and fly. Fly up and roll perception. No, investigation, because you're looking for something specific.
Yeah, that's... Where's investigation there? 17 total.
Okay. And you're looking for what? Horses? Modes of transport? What are you looking for?
Basically anything that can expedite the trip to the capital.
Okay, can make it a bit quicker for you. Well, you do see round the back of the tent that there are some horses and wagons and things that obviously the circus people use to pull all their props and pull the tent around.
Perfect.
You do, however, see that... Ooh. Alright. Currently, most of the wagons are around the back, which is where most of the performers went when the fire started, and they're collecting their things and sorting things out. However, there is one wagon and 3 horses unattended at the moment, or at least they're not directly within their sight. You'd have to be quite sneaky to take them, but they are there.
How many people are we?
Oh my god, we're about to steal horses.
From these people whose tents just...
To be honest, we burnt their circus to the ground. They're not gonna like us anyway.
They didn't
I mean, they can't prove that was us.
Well, I think most people in that room saw Pug levitating and smoking, just to say. You've got Arissa, Ariel, Belgarath, Cass, Pug, and Enna, so you've got 6 of you.
That would fit, right? 3 horses and the cart, and then I can obviously sit anywhere on any of the horses together with someone.
It depends how heavy some of us are. If the horses can definitely take 2 people.
Yeah, but like we have the cart as well. We can.
There's a cart.
There's 1 wagon and 3 horses, apart from the rest.
So,
I am going to dissuade you guys from taking the horses. And I'm like grabbing at my sword. Like, not grabbing at my sword, but like fingering, like touching the handle, I guess.
Do not take out the sword. It will just draw attention. If we are to sneak and make a subtle mission out of it, we don't want blinding light all around us.
But he's trying to like make it so that we won't fetch the horses.
Pug, are you going to desperately try to make them not take the stuff, the horses in the wagon?
It wasn't really threatening. It was more of like just absentmindedly fiddling with the handle.
Okay, but are you trying to persuade them?
Oh, okay.
I'm telling them not to, but I'm not doing it threateningly.
Why would you not want us to take the horses? Wouldn't that get us to the capital faster? I think I've lost track of the conversation at this point.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to be good right now. The sword's
Where did that come from?
The sword's making me be good.
Okay.
So what if we ask
the sword makes you feel chivalrous.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we just ask the people if we can like borrow their cart and horses.
You can certainly try.
Okay, I'm going up to the lady.
I don't like our chances on that one, I'll be...
I have a plan.
Which of us has the money to do that? Let's start with that.
The money, I have a better idea. The fortune
How
teller.
much money do you have?
Quite a bit.
is it in the range of 100 golds? Because basically horses cost a lot.
Quite a bit more.
I'm rolling insight. Are you using your deception?
To be fair, can you make him tell you that?
Honest.
Okay, I'm still using insight.
Alright.
Let me just actually roll it.
Rosie, did you see my message? Did you see my message?
She's not there at the moment. She's like run towards the big top tent.
I got 9 insight, so...
Damn it. That's a problem.
You can roll perception and look for her though if you like.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, that might find her. 14 total.
You got 14 total. Okay, you can see the gnome fortune teller. You can see like the back of her head. You recognise the big scarf she was wearing. She's over towards the tent helping people out at the moment.
I fly over to her.
Okay, while you're doing that, and me and Pug are discussing gold. Cass, what are you inciting?
I was just trying to insight Pug if he was lying about having enough money to pay for the cart, but I didn't roll very well. So.
Well, how much do you think? How much do you personally think it would cost?
I was thinking it would cost at least 100 gold, considering there are 3 horses and the cart. But I mean that's speaking if they want to sell at all, because they just lost everything, so they might not want to sell their horses.
Well, I mean, they might want to sell their horses.
Okay.
Obviously, they
as far as you can tell, you think that he might have some money, but you just don't trust the shit out of this guy anyway, so you're not sure. He could be, or he could be completely bluffing you.
Okay.
Obviously,
he could be looking to make some money at this point.
Yeah, they did just lose everything, so we gotta give them, you know, we're charity by buying shit from them. They need money to, like, kind of rebuild, you know, buy more stuff.
Well, yeah, if you
give them more than fair
want
price.
to, I'm not going to stop you. I mean, it's up to you.
Alright, well, I'm gonna walk over to whoever is in charge. Which is... Alright, Rosie. Who looks in charge out of this group?
Okay, well,
This group of carnies?
the person you would instantly be looking for, you can't see, which was sort of the ringmaster person, the one who was in charge and was calling to you all and saying, you know, roll up, come and see these people, etc., etc. However...
Right.
You can see several of the gnomes running about and looking after people. You can see the young tiefling called Sparrow with the flyaway curly hair who did the aerial and the trapeze. And you can also see the dwarf man who was one of the techie people who was wandering around looking all scruffy, and he's helping, he's been bringing water and things, and now they've managed to put some of the fire out and things. So you can see him as well, but you can't currently see a ringmaster or anything. You could go in and look, but you'd have to go further into the tent to find him.
Okay, let me roll up to the tiefling, I guess.
Alright. The young girl, tiefling, brown curly hair, a sort of fadey red skin, and she is currently... sitting just outside the tent, and she's looking at her hoop, which is currently all black and sooty and like burnt.
So if you're an ass. Okay, so I'm going to say to her, hello, that's terribly sorry about the fire and everything. We're wondering if we could talk to your boss.
I don't think this is a really good time because we just had a massive fire, okay?
Did you?
We want to help you. We're trying to help you out. Help your group out.
You want to help us out? Why? What do you want? We just had a frickin' fire, okay?
I know she's gonna be an nasty teenager.
Rosie?
Yes.
I think, considering my sleight of hand was a nat 20,
Yes.
that my neck starts glowing.
Okay. Well, that could be a problem.
Oh shit, that could be a problem with thing. Do I have any control over it?
You could cover it up with your hand. As you're flying along.
What happened with him?
The little pixie has flown off and you can't see him anymore.
And my stealth was an 18.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
And...
Oh no, wait, 18 plus 3, so 21. Sorry.
Wait, do we have to roll both of them?
No.
Do we have to roll both of them or just one? Okay.
Oh.
Everyone who
Seriously?
wants to try and steal things, roll stealth.
Can I not just stand back and watch? Because my dexterity is piss poor, and I'd much rather just join in once they're successful.
Yeah, you can stand back and watch. That's fine. Ariel, you've gone to find this lady and speak to her.
Well, I intended on that, but Pug wandered off to a lady, so I decided not to bother the people and go for the horses instead while they were distracted.
Okay. Alright. Meanwhile, Ariel, you have managed to untie the 3 horses from where they're stood next to the wagon. However, you cannot pull them or anything because you're not strong enough to do that, but you can stand there and hold on to it and no one has seen you do it. Anyone else who wants to go over and help him, roll a stealth. Cass, you're fine. You have gone over and disguised yourself to look like one of the circus gnomes. You are now stood beside the 3 horses in the wagon. Anyone else who wants to go over and help, roll stealth so you're not spotted. Meanwhile, Pug, you're still talking to the girl, and she said, "Why do you want to help us? We've just had a frickin' fire."
I'm going to roll persuasion on her and say that we just oh god, we just want to help because you obviously had a freaking fire. We're trying to find your boss so that we can work something out to help you guys out because we're charitable folks. We're roll persuasion. Oh god, that's 20. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Meanwhile, Belgarath, were you walking over to the horses?
I was, yes.
Alright. Belgarath and Enna wander over towards the horses. Orissa skips along merrily humming to herself and passes off for one of the most amazing, wonderful people in the world that no one notices as she wanders over. Belgarath trips
That's
over.
exactly how I operate.
So desperate are you, Belgarath, to not be spotted that you actually trip over one of the ropes that's holding the tent up, or what's left of the tent up. And as you trip, you grab hold of Enna, who then goes, "Ah!" as you grab her shoulder. And both of you cause a little bit of a scene. However, people look up at you, but they don't really pay you a lot of attention because they're a bit busy with being preoccupied with the fire, and I rolled badly, so you haven't caused anyone to come over to you yet, and those of you stood by the horses, no one has spotted you yet. Pug, with your persuasion, she now believes that you're charitable and wanting to help. She's still confused as hell, but she believes you. And she says, "Right, so you want to give us stuff then? What do you want? Weren't you watching us? Didn't I see you in the tent? Wasn't that you that was like all covered in black and smoking and frickin' smoking and that?"
I'm going to roll deception. I'm going to roll deception and say, "Hey, yeah, I saw that guy. It was not me, but it was somebody else."
Alright.
That gives me 17.
Okay.
17.
Well, she rolled a
But
19.
sometimes the DC might be too high. Yeah.
Well, the tiefling sparrow rolled a 19, so she's beaten you, Bug. So...
Fuck.
I think he was that guy. I think it was you. How do I know you didn't? You must have started the freaking fire. What did you have in your pocket? A firecracker or something?
This has got a bit tipped up.
That was me. Okay, that was me, but I'm trying to make amends for the situation. I'm trying to, you know, just be a better person because of my previous actions.
Previous actions? You mean like 10 freaking minutes ago? You just burned down our entire lives, you stupid fool!
What accent is that?
Don't question my DM.
This makes sense. This makes complete sense.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago, previous actions, then yes, of course, I'm trying to be a better person, because you've delighted us with your carnegism and your aerialism. We want to help you out by making up for what we did.
Roll persuasion, dude.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Persuasion, that is 16.
Okay. She's like...
Yeah, she was a tumbler.
Yeah, she had the aerial hoop and the trapeze and stuff. Okay.
Fair enough.
So you got, was that a 16? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. She like is standing up in front of you now. She's dropped her hoop. She's raising one very angry tiefling eyebrow at you, and like glaring you full in the face as you say all of this. And you can see her sort of computing it through her brain and thinking like, is this guy just insane? What the hell? And eventually she sort of decides, she seems to decide that she can't reach a decision, and so she says, I don't know what the hell you think you want to do, but this is just confusing the crap out of me. You say you set our whole lives on fire and ruined everything, and now you want to give us stuff. Well, that's just, I don't... And she, like, calls over through the tent. She, like, lifts up a flap of the tent. She goes, Lordo! And she's calling, and someone inside the tent says, Oi! And she says, I found the guy you set our whole tent on fire. Come over here!
Well, it was an accident.
Okay, so what are the rest of you doing over by the horses while this is occurring?
Well, the thing is, do we see or hear anything from how Pug is fucking up trying to actually buy the horses?
Okay. Roll a perception if you want to try and listen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hear that nat one.
Okay, yeah, you hear absolutely nothing.
Give me a sec.
Silence.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay, not right.
What is the question? Oh, we're rolling perception.
Roll perception if you want to try and hear what is going on with Pug.
Yeah, I rolled and it was not well.
I rolled worse with my nat one.
But to be honest, I think I'm busy trying to house the horses.
Yeah, you can be busy.
Be actually useful.
Enna, you don't hear very much, but you hear Pug say something, and then you hear the girl call for someone inside the tent in a sort of angry voice. And you hear her say that she's found the guy who set everything on fire. And actually, the rest of you will hear her shout. So you will have heard that as well.
Even me with my nat one?
You'll have heard the shout, you just won't have heard the context of the shout.
Oh, I just assumed that like the horse whinnied in my ear and I hear anything.
The horse will have been like distracting you because it's very big and those teeth are almost as big as you are. But you would have heard the shout because it would have been very loud.
Yeah, okay.
But you won't have known the context of the shout. Pug made a good distraction. Yes, he is useful. Yes, indeed. So, what were you guys doing with the horses? What are you going to do? Are you going to lead them away? Are you taking the wagon as well? How many are you taking?
Cass said she was readying the horses and the wagon.
Yeah, basically take it all.
Under the disguise of one of the armies.
Yeah. So,
Take
what you can, give nothing back.
Okay, the wagon doesn't have anything currently in it. It's a wagon that's used to cart what looks like all the things around, but it does mean it's empty and could take 4 of you.
Yeah. So exactly. The thing is, I'm not so bad that I'm actually taking away more stuff. I'm just taking the wagon and the horses.
The most valuable thing.
Imagine if it would have been full. We'd just carefully unload it all, nicely stack it for them, and then leave.
That's just 2 more, guys. Great.
Can I, because I heard the shout, can I fly over to Pug and see, like, whatever is happening there?
Yeah,
okay, if I was playing a nicer character, I would leave a horse, but I'm not, so...
Well, they do have other horses around the other side, it's just that's where a lot of the other people were.
Yeah, but we only stole the amount that they left unguarded.
Exactly, it's
basically.
So we're basically their security detail, and they learn from this that they should protect their horses at all times.
Even when you're distracted by having a fire, you should still be keeping an eye on all of your possessions at once.
Unless you want to lose them.
And this is the story of how the Sunday party became insurance salesmen.
Yeah, but it's more of the kind where like one person convinces them to buy the insurance, and if it doesn't work, the other draw their swords.
Have you had your horses stolen after your livelihood has been burned down?
Yeah. Okay. Just to make it clear, I'm just taking the wagon and all the horses. Nothing else.
So you're taking the wagon and 3 horses, and are you all going to lead those away?
One of the horses is bringing the wagon, and the other 2 are just...
Yeah, you can have 1 or 2 horses strapped to the wagon, and then the other one free, or you can have 2 horses out of the wagon.
I'd say all of them attached to the wagon, so that they go as fast as possible.
No, 2 horses attached to the wagon, and 1 apart. Yeah.
One behind it for security.
Just tied to the end. It's coming behind the wagon.
I was thinking someone with a ranged weapon there, so that if anything happens, we can, like, fight. Because we are very vulnerable if we're all inside one cart.
Yeah. Well, it's an open cart.
It's okay.
It's like a pulling wagon that you'd use to load up with hay bales and things. So it's basically you can sit 4 people in it, and it's got like a little like fence around the outside, so you won't fall out.
Oh, perfect.
Timo, first we have to get the cart away, and then you can learn to seek us out.
In the meantime, I'm flying over to Pug, but can I do so stealthily?
Yes, you can. Roll a stealth.
In this scale? Awesome.
I'll roll with advantage, actually, on the stealth, because you're tiny and there's a lot of chaos going on, yeah.
That's really nice of you, because I rolled a 2 on the first one.
I can be nice to you sometimes, guys.
So 17 total.
17 total. Okay, yes. You can fly over to Pug, and you can get over there without anyone really spotting you or noticing you at all. It's fine.
I tap Pug on the shoulder. Pug! Now!
Bad shoulder.
Yeah, he tapped you on the bad shoulder, and it really fucking hurt.
Yeah.
At least I have his attention. Because I'm not sure if a 20-centimeter pixie tapping on your shoulder would get your attention at all.
You'd have to roll very good on your strength.
If it feels like a knife, then yeah.
So, Pug!
What?
I heard some shouting. We should probably go outside and just, like, step onto the cart that the others have readied so that we can leave now.
Well, I'm about to buy the car. We don't need to steal no car.
Can I roll persuasion to try and convince Pug to come outside?
Yes,
And
you can roll
not
persuasion.
cause any more idiotic mayhem.
You can roll persuasion, yes.
Ooh. That's 20 total, not natural.
Okay. Pug, do you want to roll against that? Roll intelligence or wisdom.
Alright, let me get wisdom. Oh, that's not bad. Not good enough, though. So 19. Fuck.
Okay, while this is going on, the rest of them are planning to paint the cart pink and put flowers on it, apparently.
We are not all planning that.
Oh yeah, just Aaron in the back of his brain is thinking about that. Pug, you aren't persuaded because you think it's a good idea, but a part of you thinks, oh, well, they've already done it, it'll get us out of here quicker, it'll cause less drama. Arissa is now painting the wagon with her supply of watercolour paints that she carries with her at all times.
Seems legit.
Alright, I guess I'm forced to, like, to dip out of the situation because it's already not going my way.
Oi, where do you think you're going?
I'm distracted on the way.
Oh no, you are giving up.
The Tiefling
I'm
Girl
just capitalizing
Sparrow.
on my opportunities.
The Tiefling Girl Sparrow is now asking where the fuck you think you're going.
The tiefling is asking. Okay, I dumped 20 gold on her and didn't dip out.
Sorry, thank you!
Can we please have him roll for an attack and throwing the money at her?
Pug, roll me a dexterity check for throwing the money at her.
Oh shit! You're still exhausted, aren't you?
Yeah, you
Shit.
are. So do it with disadvantage, please, Pug.
Sorry, Pug.
Oh god.
Screw up.
Well, I got a 19.
Screw up.
Oh, okay. So I rolled a 19. So 19 with dexterity is that's 20.
With disadvantage, no?
Yeah, I roll a 19 and then a 20. So and with my 1 is 20.
Okay.
Oh my god, you killed her with the money!
Well, he was trying not to. He was trying not to, I assume, so therefore he doesn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah, if you rolled a 1, he would have, like, hit her straight in the eye.
Okay, you throw a... Are you just... It's a handful of 20 gold or like a little bag?
Yeah. So I reach into the bag, drop, throw some gold and run away.
Okay, so this poor tiefling girl who has been utterly confused by you, who was looking over her shoulder into the tent calling for Lotto, now feels raining down upon her feet some and looks around to see a load of gold coins hitting her feet and the back of Pug's head as he sprints away accompanied by a tiny little pixie.
Yep, that's what happened.
And now we're, like, boarding the cart and leaving him full speed?
Are you all at the cart now? So, Pug, you're going to go back over to the cart with him. Are you going to get in?
Yeah.
You're just resigned now.
I'm taking the horse. The others can be on the horse.
I'm getting in very unhappy about it.
Okay. Well, four of you can fit in the wagon. Ariel, obviously, you can fly or sit wherever. Cass, did you say you're going on the other horse?
Yes, I'm going on a
sit
treat
on
horse.
Pug's good shoulder and whisper something in his ear.
Sure. Hang on one sec. Okay. Go for it.
I see that you're not happy with this. How about you just pull out that nice sword of yours and just, like, cheer yourself up a bit?
No, we do not need that sword.
Because that would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yes, and Pug.
You should be pulling out your sword and making yourself feel better in public.
He's gonna lay hands on himself for a bit.
yeah,
my sword.
Arissa
thank you
and
for
Dalgara
excellently
and
describing
Enna, where are you sitting? Are you going in the wagon with Pug?
Yeah, I'd say we can go in the wagon.
In which case, 4 of you plus Ariel can fit in. Kess goes on the other horse. Kess, roll an animal handling, please.
Oh my god,
yeah.
make sure you didn't crush the horse.
Who wants to drive the wagon?
I will.
Oh, I'm not in favour of that.
In that case, I won't sit on top of the cart because it's a human. I'll fly.
Okay. Cass, with the 16, you jump onto the horse, and have you ridden before, or is this going to be a case of guesswork?
Do Dragonborn ride horses?
That would be entirely up to you and what you think your character's done. You have been in Travise, but have you mainly walked around?
Because you can already ride top mighty lizards.
Guess you could also always roll a dice and decide if you've ever driven a horse, basically. Well, driven a horse.
Okay. Yeah, I have. Okay, so I'm just experienced at it and just do it very smoothly and gracefully.
Okay. Well, with a 16, you can do that. And did you want to ride the horse behind, or are you going to go in front of the wagon?
Oh, behind. I don't do it in the front.
Okay. So, Arissa, can you also roll me an animal handling to steer the wagon?
Yeah, give me one.
Yes, because Arissa did steer a ship in a side quest on Tuesday. Yes, indeed. Which, sadly, the audio has been lost, but we can recap it at some point when it becomes relevant into the story. Because technically it happens in the future, but... 18. Okay, Arissa, much to everyone's shock and surprise and terror, leaps up into the wagon last, picks up the reins on the horses, and sort of goes, "Let's go!" And the horses just sort of go, "Okay," and start galloping off into the distance.
Oh god, we're all gonna die!
Well, that all went better than expected.
So no, we were trying to like stealth away because if she yelled "Let's go," who heard us?
Do you need me to roll stealth as well?
No, I would say that at this point it doesn't matter, because if people did notice, you're far too quick and you're going away far too quickly for people to notice. So I'm going to say you're okay for now. Alright, so where are you going to head in the where are you heading for? You guys, you have a basic idea?
No idea.
Yeah, so someone wants to steer Arissa.
We're going south! We're going south! We're going south!
No, we're going to
Except we're aiming.
Are we supposed to be going south?
No, we're going to what's it called?
No, we're going to the right.
We are going to east.
Of where we are now.
Slightly south, but more east.
Well, we weren't exactly in
Northeast.
We were slightly below. We were slightly below midway between Dens and Borg thingy.
But Arrow, maybe you could see from the sky which direction we should be taking.
Well, if it's 2 days walking, do I see that far? It's turn wasteland, but you know what? Can I roll stealth? Can I roll stealth and fly up to try and see where we have to go?
Yes.
And do I roll perception for that?
Yes.
That's a 2. Oh wait, perception makes 3.
Okay. And what exactly were you looking for?
Our destination.
Okay. You can't see anything. It's all very dark and evening. You've only got a little bit of starlight, and the sky is fairly red, as it is in Travise nowadays. And all you know is east.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a direction.
In that case, I fly over towards Arissa, and I'm actually gonna say it's over in the data way. In like half a circle towards where I guesstimate that it could possibly be.
Sorry, I was finding an image. What?
It's beautiful.
I missed something.
Hail the land whale.
Oh my god, that sounded almost as good as Zone of Truth.
Zone of Truth.
Nobody can lie to the bard.
So yeah, where are we going?
That way.
Okay.
To be fair, I leave it up to Rosie to decide if I even pointed anywhere remotely close to correct this.
And up to Rosie if I even went in that right direction.
Just roll me a d20.
Me?
Nope,
That
Arissa.
just goes always closed at the moment, by the way.
Okay, I have a question. Is there any road that we are following, or are we just going in the middle of wilderness?
At the moment, you're in the middle of wilderness. There are not many roads in Travise anyway. It's literally a case of you can be guided by the stars. If any of you have a vague idea of what you're doing, well, Arissa rolled a 6. Let's see how this works out.
Are we on our road yet?
I'm not sorry.
Okay.
Did the old lady get back up?
What old lady? There never was an old lady. Alright, so you guys were around, for anyone watching here, and you are now heading in a southeasterly direction.
Oh, we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
So we're actually.
Six.
Can I like keep flying up and checking? Just like if anything scary or dangerous or big approaches.
Sure, fly up and roll perception. And could everyone, apart from Arissa, so could Belgarath and Enna and Pug, please roll me a strength or dexterity check for staying in the wagon?
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna go.
Meanwhile, I'm just lazily galloping behind them, very, very comfortably.
Yes, very comfortably, very
save?
gracefully.
Rosie, is that a save?
Yes.
And you still have disadvantage from being exhausted.
Yes, you do, Pug, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Right, so this is going to be fun.
Alright,
Yeah.
Enna, you managed to gloriously and magnificently wrap your arm around the edge of the wagon and sort of, your body works with the bumps as you're going and you manage to sort of sway along with it and keep your grip. Belgarath, it's a very bumpy ride, you keep bouncing up and down on your ass like but you're still sitting inside there, and Pug, you're getting sort of like bounced from one side of the wagon to the other. Every time you reach around to try and like
your shoulder.
Yeah, you keep trying to make sure the
Will
sword's
you
okay.
slow down, you daft bent?
I knew we should have just bought the wagon. This is because we stole it.
If we bought it, it might have come with cushions.
This is just going to laugh merrily and keep going at the same speed.
Are you just too much of a hatchling to take this?
I'm a hitter right in the face.
Who are you going to hit in the face?
All of them.
Not really, I'm threatening to hit her in the face because she's driving like a pillock.
That's okay then. Well, you guys can now
I
have a
support the fighting
conversation.
between the humans.
Do you guys want to keep heading as far as you can, as long as you can? In which case you could sleep in the wagon, those of you who want to or can. Or you can look for somewhere to stop. What sort of thing would you like to do?
I'll sleep in the wagon.
No, I think we should make a stop to have a proper rest for everyone.
Yeah.
The horses will need a rest too. We can't make them go all night.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I can take all this bouncing, so I need a rest outside the wagon.
Let me out!
Both of you are acting like hatchlings. You should be able to take a small bumpy road. Just look at Enna, how comfortable she is.
Well, that's good for her. I don't like riding in wagons. I want out.
Anna.
You little princesses.
We don't have long stretches of countryside in the city. We need a break.
Anna.
Yeah?
Do you have any place where I can sleep close to you?
Oh, you like me now, do you? Because you didn't like me before.
I liked you after you got to throw ice at my face.
You can sit in between, like in a little corner, in between me and the wagon if you want. It's a nice little nook for you.
Can you please make sure that they won't catch me in jars?
I'll do my best. I can't promise anything.
Thank you. And I go to sleep there.
Aww.
But I do think we want to stop for the night.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well,
Fair, but I've been awake for a full day and it's not a good idea for me.
I just think the horses need a rest, so I think we need to have a little bit of a break for them.
the horses can probably keep going for another 4 or 5 hours, but after that they will be exhausted.
No, they can't.
Oh, not at a gallop, no. I'd say a couple of hours if you're galloping.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really
That's
been used
very
today.
Okay,
But
Rosie, we set up camp for the night.
alrighty.
I think we agreed that we are not sleeping on
In the wagon. So, okay. You guys are, I'm going to pinpoint on the map where you've got to. And while I'm doing that, would you guys like to decide what you want to do while you're setting up camp?
I want to play the horses.
Try not to throw up.
I was
Depending whether it would be good or bad thing to throw a fireball at the wagon.
Don't
You
do
can
that.
roll a persuasion on yourself if you want.
No, it's alright. It's just going to be like an internal debate. I'm not actually going to do it. It'll just be it'll be a temptation.
Okay. So, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to have food? Do you want to set up? Do you want to have a fire, etc., etc.? Or do you literally, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm probably still sleeping in that corner in the cart.
Perhaps setting up a fire is a good idea.
Because the pixie fell asleep.
I can take care of
wake up.
Well, I think I would scout the area before setting up a fire.
Alright. Go on then.
So that's is that perception to scout or
Survival.
is it survival or perception?
What are you scouting for?
Basically anything dangerous.
Perception for that.
Sorry?
Perception for that at the moment.
Perception. Okay, that's nice. That's 19.
19, okay. What you can see about 20 feet away from where the wagon screeched to a halt is one of the massive craters that Travise is famous for now. That's one of those big cracks in the ground that happened during the big war 5 years ago.
Oh. And is it bottomless?
You can try and have a look if you want, but it's very, very dark at the moment. Or you can just see, because you've lived here for a very long time, you can tell what it is from a distance, but you can't.
Rosie, I can have. I have the special dark vision thing that lets me see through all darkness.
Well, you can see. You can't see how far down it goes from here. You could walk up to the edge and have a look, but you can just see that it's very, very dark.
Yeah, I want to.
Alright. And here is where you're at. While that's loading. Okay, yep. It appears to you to be much like some of the other...
Going the wrong way.
It appears very much like some of the other craters and pits you've seen that happened during the evil magic in the war and stuff. You can't see a bottom as such, and similar to the ones you found where you think was the ruined town, you can see something like glowing like fire very far down at the bottom.
Oh, okay, cool.
Guys.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else dangerous or unusual that I find around our camp?
Not that you can see now.
Okay,
Yeah, so-
we can start fire. It's okay. It's all safe.
Quickly out of game because I don't want to go meta here, but metagaming here. We traveled about as far as we were supposed to get to the capital, except we went south instead of north. So we're now about as far as when we started our journey.
Well, that's just great.
Okay, so in the morning we can correct that. I think let's just...
Yeah, after a sleep we might actually see something.
That's assuming we know that we've gone this far south and we know where we are.
I keep regularly checking everything with like if there's anything dangerous incoming. That's why I'm flying up.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
In
fair
any
enough.
case, we need a rest.
If you roll an investigation, Ariel, to have a look at the stars and the position of where the moon's gone, you could potentially find out where you are now.
Well, not that my investigation is any good, but I think I might be lucky with the 17 I rolled, so 16 total.
Yep, you can tell from the position of the stars, the way the moon's gone. You can tell that you've gone a bit further south than east.
In that case, I start panicking slightly, and I go to Anna, because that's so far the one person that I trust in this.
Yay!
Slightly trust in this party. I just noticed that she's an elf too.
But I'm a full elf, so I'm better.
Full elf is slightly.
Oh, okay, we got a bit of elf supremacy over here.
In his eyes, not my eyes. I think we're
I'm
all
only halfway offended.
He hates humans more than he hates elves. So
I think we have a non-human supremacy here.
No, not that. I'm just sworn to get vengeance on the people that killed me, which are humans. So,
okay.
you know, that's the thing. I go up to Anna and I just explained to her that I just noticed that we went the wrong way, basically.
Well, that is incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
Right, so tomorrow I'm going to be driving.
Thing is, did anybody else hear this?
Well, as long as I'm not on the way, then I don't care. If you screw it up, it's your business.
Well, if we can only tell where we're going at night by where the stars and the moon are, maybe we should only be traveling at night and not during the day when we have no idea where the hell we're going.
Well, I mean, now we know that we need to go north, then it should be fairly easy to work out.
Yes.
As long as we know which direction to go.
Yeah.
Well, we just keep the rising sun to our right. It's
Okay. Okay. You can be in charge of that, and if we get lost again, then you're out.
Can I roll persuasion to make sure they allow me to drive again?
Yes.
Can I roll to try and avoid that?
Yeah, I'm gonna assist on
Okay, you guys can also roll a persuasion.
I will help Arisa.
Okay, so
I'm not gonna trust Arisa, so I won't side with Belgarath on that one.
okay, Arisa roll with advantage. Arisa roll persuasion with advantage, and Belgarath, Ariel, and Pug each roll persuasion individually.
I like my chances here with this +6. Was that a net 20, Pug?
It was. I wish. I feel like you guys think I'm lying, but I'm not lying. I swear to God.
Which is exactly what a liar would say.
I know.
It's okay. We operate on the we choose to believe you because it's more fun than arguing principle here.
Because we can.
Yeah. For skill checks, not 20 doesn't mean if you're contesting, not 20 doesn't mean you win. It's overall points.
Okay. Arisa got a 23. Pug, Belgarath, and Errol. Ooh, a 23 for the pixie. And
That's against Arisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Arisa is very persuasive. She insists that, she just really wants to and it would be great and it was fun and they got here fast and nobody died. And Belgarath and Pug, you remember the fact that Errol was kind of rude to you just a minute ago. But the three of you are fairly overruly. However, I get the impression that it might just be a case of whoever happens to get to the wagon first.
So I'm gonna
We gotta make sure that we're waking up first tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna set my alarm.
Just whip out your
What's an alarm?
Set an alarm.
Ask the sword.
Or do you
Sword,
have-
would you wake me up? Cortana, would you wake me up?
Ask the sword.
Oh dear holy sword, could you please kindly wake me up at around like 6 a.m. with two additional snooze
You can
options.
just take the watch in the morning. And that way.
This is fucking perfect. I love the chaos and mayhem here.
Aww.
Okay, so what do you want to do this evening? Are you all going to set up a campfire, have some food, and go to sleep? Or did anyone want to do anything specific?
Yeah. I'll take watch. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have to set up watch overnight, no?
Yeah, you'll probably only need 2 because it's fairly late now if you guys want to get up early enough.
Okay,
to-
I'll take up first watch.
Okay, and who wants the second?
Well,
I'll take second watch.
quick question, how long would I be able to sleep if I just sleep the entire
I'll
night?
take last watch.
Okay, if you sleep
Oh,
the
good.
entire night, you'd probably get 6 hours, maybe?
Okay, how long has it been since I slept last?
No, we can't let Arissa take last watch.
No, I called it. Me.
Shoo!
Well, you can both take it if you want. I'd say it's been at least a day. It's been at least a day since you've slept, I think.
I'm gonna sleep next
Oh.
door.
Okay.
Okay, so do we all go to sleep? Well, except.
Did anyone want to do anything before you go to sleep?
No.
Yeah,
Including, you know, sword alarms, etc., etc.
I'm gonna sleep as soon as possible, just like now.
Okay. The pixie is lights out asleep.
Rosie, I just logged out on my computer and I sent you a message.
Okay. Alright. Okay, so nobody's doing anything, you're all just going to go to sleep, apart from Kess, you're on first watch, yes? No, not Kess. Who's taking first watch?
No, I'm taking first watch.
Yeah, it was Kess, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
Yeah.
Pug and everyone's arguing over second. Well, you know what? You can just wake them up and they can decide amongst themselves who they want to go next.
No, it was last watch that people were arguing over.
Yeah.
Basically, the who is awake in time to grab the horse's watch.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, they're arguing about who gets to take the wagon.
Actually, I'm gonna sleep inside of the cart so that even if they leave, I can get those extra 2 hours and just sleep 8 hours.
Alright, go for it. Okay. You all fall into a fairly hectic sleep, but you manage to catch a few hours of shut-eye. While you are first asleep, okay. Belgarath,
Yes.
can you roll me a charisma save, please?
22 charisma, sir.
Alright. I'm gonna personal message you this, actually.
Come on.
Well, this is ominous.
You know it to a sudden start.
It's a long message.
Okay.
Oh god, I'm gonna die.
You suddenly got grabbed by a monster that killed Varric and you trying to talk to
the
it.
end. Enna, can you roll me a wisdom save, please?
Okay.
Well, that's a nice thing to start the day with.
Is this all about dreams?
No.
14.
Okay. I'm messaging you as well. Meanwhile, the rest of you have a very dreamless sleep and you're perfectly happy. Potentially except for one other person. Okay. Yeah, that's all of you for now. Alright.
Hey!
Pug,
Mm-hmm.
can you please roll me I'm gonna find it in your sheet. Perception.
Perception?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Fucking nat 20 again.
Okay.
I wish it was joking.
Boy, is that a good thing?
I mean, it is, but I don't want to be rolling nat 20s all the time.
You really do, believe me, you really do. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh no, what a drag.
Pug.
Oh no, what a drag! You defeat everything with one hand that's tied to your ankle.
It's good in fights, but not so much when we're trying to like roleplay and stuff.
Okay. Puggywug, you have dreams. You can hear the sword, the voice that comes to you through the sword. The voice that you only know as Islia. And you can hear her saying, Pug, you are far from me. So very far. Your world is not my own. And this sort of continues over in your head. And you can hear it sort of, it's from a distance. You can almost hear it as if it's coming through a crackly radio. And a radio? What's a radio? And you can hear a faint, like, rushing, as if wind was running past your ears. Like, almost gale force winds. But it's very, very faint, but you can still hear it, like, in the back of your head, as if it's inside your ear, rushing past you. And in your dream...
Help me, Puggy-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Help me,
Essentially.
Essentially, yes. So, you see a dark room, and as you move further into it, you can see... Oh, Christ. Everyone's going to see this now. Right. No, you're not. I'm going to do it the other way.
Everyone knows about it.
No. There's a folder full of very secret things on my laptop. I'm going to send it from my phone instead. It's going to be bad quality, but you see this. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Still loading. You see, so it's a very dark room, and you can see creatures. You can't quite make them out. They're very deformed, but you can't make them out. It's so dark, and it's lit by maybe one tiny candle giving out a very red light, and you can just make out a cage right at the other end of the room, far down, where all these creatures are sort of walking and prowling around it. But you can't make out much of the details. And the room itself is very dark, but you can just hear this incessant, there's wind rushing past your ears, and it gets louder and louder as you're walking through the place, and you can still hear that voice in your head saying to you that you're far, the world is not her own, and for some reason it's not letting me send it, so I'm going to try again. There we go.
Okay.
And that's what you have dreams of. And it feels like it goes on forever, although the dream itself might have only been a few minutes. And...
Okay, so I wake up with, like, renewed vigor to find this, to save this status.
Well, actually, you wake up because you feel the sword being pulled away from you.
Oh! No, hold up. Who's taking the sword from me? Who's gonna...
Nothing's taken from me.
There you go. That's what you saw in your dream. It finally loaded.
Okay, I see. So I gotta say it.
So, yeah, you wake up and you feel almost inside your heart, you feel a tugging, and that makes you... It almost feels like you're going to be sick, and you wake up and... and you feel something tugging at the sword, which you have... Is it strapped around you, or are you sleeping, like, cuddling it?
Well, I was, like, on my... It's in my backpack, so I was kind of, like, sleeping, like, on top of it.
Okay, so you instinctively know that it's the sword. You don't know how, but you know. And you wake up and the backpack has been opened and the sword has been half... Like, well, not even the sword, but the backpack has been opened. And as you wake up, you look around and you hear some footsteps, but you can't see anyone.
Okay. So I still have the sword, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I give like a sort of a start. I look around. I draw this, and kind of like wave it around threateningly. Like, who's there? Who's there? You know.
Hey, what's up, Pug?
Did you see anyone? Did you see anyone come by?
Did I see anything on my watch?
Rosie.
Because
Did you see anything on your watch?
Did you see anything?
No, it was perfectly calm and quiet.
Ooh, okay. Can I do an insight?
Yep.
Okay. 13.
Ariel,
15.
the light wouldn't necessarily wake you up because you're inside the wagon.
Well, it's an open wagon, right?
But Pug's shouting might.
Oh shit.
Everybody
Do I roll anything to stay asleep?
roll a... Well, in a way you'd roll perception, but if you'd rather stay asleep, so everyone who doesn't want to get disturbed by this, then roll a...
An ignoring.
Yeah, roll okay, well, I'll tell you what. Just roll a straight d20, and if you roll anything that's a 10 or higher, then you stay asleep.
God fucking damn it.
Okay, I got a nat 20 on that one.
Okay, Baldrath is snoring.
That's worse.
Can't hear nothing. Emma is also snoring.
But,
They're so used to Pug and Cass arguing, they just sleep through this.
So basically, snoring of Baldrath and Emma didn't help in me staying asleep.
Just go la 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 la.
Okay, Pixie, you're awake. Sorry. The other two are snoring. Arissa, you're probably still asleep, unless you would like to be awake and watch what's happening here. And then you could sort of sidle over to the wagon, depending on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Pug,
Yes.
you have absolutely no idea whether Cass is telling you the truth or not.
Fuck. Okay.
She's just giving you like a withering stare right now, which could be anything.
Well, okay, so I don't.
It's basically her resting face.
Alright.
Hey, you know I'm tired. I need my rest as well. Are you going to take the next watch?
Yeah, I'm also at the next watch. And he
good then.
sits up and, you know, gets ready for his watch.
Yeah. Well, make sure that nothing happens.
Oh, nothing will happen under my watch, I assure you.
Okay, so Cass goes to sleep. The rest of you can go back to sleep if you weren't already. And Pug takes a watch.
Do you want to stealth for what I sent you?
Maybe. I'm rolling someone else's right now.
I don't like people trying to take my sword.
Okay. And yes, roll stealth. Pug, are you just going to sit by the fire? Are you going to do anything with your sword? Are you going to put it away? What are you going to do?
I'm going to be extra alert.
Extra alert. So, stood on guard with the sword then?
Yeah, I have it drawn.
Okay.
So
There is sunlight! No! We are sleeping!
It doesn't create sunlight.
Yeah, it's just the stars shine super bright so it gets in your eyes, Cat.
Yes.
I'm trying to sleep, Harold!
it makes it all so pretty and sparkly.
The stars are extra bright and shiny, and
Mars is bright tonight.
the clouds
Can I
that
try
were
to throw
hanging
a
over like
torch at
disappeared.
Pug or something?
The northern lights appear.
I try to throw a branch or a rock at Pug.
Okay, roll a dex.
And tell him to...
Oh shit! Oh shit! No.
Roll a dex or a strength to throw it at Pug, and
Yeah. No, that's a dex one.
Does this afflict me?
it will do.
So, do I roll anything to dodge or something?
Okay. Pug, you feel a very painful tap on your very painful shoulder.
Oh my god! Stop with the shoulder
And
blows!
as you look around to see what has tapped you on the shoulder, Cass, what are you throwing at him?
I don't know, a rock, a branch, anything that's there, and just telling him to put the fucking sword on.
You reach over and grab a large rock from the ground and throw it at the back of his head. Pug, you being distracted by someone tapping you on your very painful shoulder, get hit in the back of the head and take 3 points of damage.
3 points of damage. Got it. So I did heal up, right? Because I was... I've been benefits of my long.
Yes. You can heal up because of the time you spent in the wagon and the time you spent having a sleep.
Okay. And I say, "Oh, Cass, you want to start something right now? So I'll finish it."
I'm trying to sleep here.
Close your eyes.
I have, and it's still bothering me. Put it away.
No! Someone just tried to take it in my sleep on your watch, so I'm going to keep it right where I can see it.
You're clearly going crazy. It's all thanks to that sword, imagining all these things. This is quite sad. What a sad and pathetic person you are.
Well, if you're so sad, why don't you cry me a fucking river? I'm keeping my sword.
Well, that's showed up.
Yeah. I will take my horse and just get out of the camping area and just go away.
If you move your horse and yourself you can go for about 10-20 feet and the stars go back to their usual dullness and the clouds sort of go covering. So you can find a place where you can sleep where there isn't so much brightness and happiness in the world if you like.
Yes, I will go and sleep in a comfortable and dark place.
Perfect!
You'll find a cave.
And I'll silently go back to sleep in the...
Okay.
Now, what you want, Bug?
Oh, I flew away again.
Okay.
Pug, you can only guess who tapped you on the shoulder or what tapped you on the shoulder, but you're pissed off about it and it frickin' hurts.
Okay.
And can you roll me a perception for your watch, please?
Oh, God.
Alright. 15. 17?
Okay. Your watch goes by and you hear some creaking from the wagon, which you can only assume is the pixie rolling over in his sleep. And other than that, nothing. Some bits of wind, occasional, what sounds like animals scuttling about off in the distance, but nothing disturbs you. And the morning dawns bright and... Oh no, wait, have you still got the sword out?
Yeah.
The morning dawns bright and fluffy clouds and a lovely sunshiny sky. Well, not completely sunshiny. Travise is very sort of dark red and overcast, but it is much brighter and sunnier and just a bit lighter. And you wake up and the rest of you can almost hear birds singing.
A bit more pleasant, right, Scales?
I'm far away enough that I don't hear.
That's true.
Good.
And Pug, you can still hear very, very faintly this rushing of wind in your ears. It's really faint, and only when no one around you is talking and nothing is moving, when all the world is silent, you can just hear this but it's not loud enough to disturb you at the moment. But it's just there, and you're very aware of it.
Okay, it sounds like it wasn't my dream.
Yes.
Ah, okay. I make a mad dash for the wagon.
Okay.
I'm all woken up at this point.
Yes, you can all be awake at this point. You're awoken by Pug.
Okay, I wake up and also make a mad dash for the wagon.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay asleep in said wagon.
You guys race up to the wagon, and as you get there, you notice that a blonde-haired human bard is already in the wagon and sitting, holding onto the reins of the horses, giving you a smile.
God, son of a...
Surprise specials!
That's fucking amazing.
Bugger off.
Very well executed. What was his name again? Oh yeah, thank you.
Yes, Pug.
There's two of us and one of her, right?
You do raise an interesting point there, friend Pug.
We can, pick her up and move her out the way.
I'll aim for the shoulder.
My shoulder.
Your shoulder, you idiot.
Is that with like or something?
I do have a rapier and sharp nails.
Fireballs. So, there's that.
Or there is the fact that you two can be not sore losers and hatchlings about this.
Says the voice of Chaos as she appears from the distance, blinking in the annoying bright sunlight.
What was that about us being hatchlings? Oh no! It's too bright! I can't sleep! It's too shiny!
So disturbing your beauty sleep!
It's disgusting! And while you oversleeping, I was watching over you. So really, I needed my rest as well.
I'm not denying that, and I'm very grateful for it, but I'm just saying it's a bit rich for you to call us babies when you're bringing a big baby about the sword.
The sword is an abomination. And...
Based on what? Based on the fact that it makes the sun a little bit brighter. I'm
exactly,
not
a little bit. It makes everything uncomfortable, okay?
For you, baby, I don't really notice much of a difference, to be honest.
Yeah, we like the sword.
Oh, then why did you marry me?
Emo case, love it.
Maybe I will.
Maybe you should.
And I kiss the sword.
Did he kiss the sharp end?
What end did you kiss, Pug?
The flat end, so not crazy.
Okay. As you do so, you feel your lips go very, very hot, and a sort of warmth slides down into your heart, and it stays there.
Aww. That's beautiful. So, I think we're burning daylight here, lads. Should we, get going?
Oh yes, let's let the crazy horse drive the wagon. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, if they keep the sword out, I want to keep far enough away that I'm not in the area of the effect of the sword.
Okay, you can ride within 10 and 20 feet away, that'll be fine. Pug, are you keeping the sword out, or are you putting it away for the wagon ride?
Take someone out. I swear if Marissa's driving, my God, it's just not going to end well.
I don't want you bouncing around the wagon waving that sword around at all of us.
Well, she needs a better light to see. Maybe it'll be safe.
I'd take the slight today over possibly getting a sword point through my skull. Thank you very much.
You got a pansy sword, right? Fine, I put the sword away.
Alright, you very securely strap the sword away, and you all set off, and I'm going to say, Ariel, are you going to make another check to see if you're going in the right direction?
Well, I would, but I specified I was going to stay asleep until I had 8 hours sleep.
In which case,
And
who would like to check whether you're going to go in the right direction? And are you still heading to the capital? In which case you'll have to go sort of north.
Well, Belgrave seems pretty sure he'd be able to navigate during the day, so I'm going to ask Belgrave to do the navigating this morning.
Right, okay. Which direction is the sun?
Well, you can make a nature check.
Can I not just...
Or survival.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I not just look up at the sky?
Well, you can, but...
It's not exactly off where the sun is.
You can, but if you roll for your survival or your nature check, then you'll be able to tell without it blinding you in the eyes.
Oh, one quick question, Rosie. In your world, does the sun still rise in the east and set in the west, or is there a different set of rules?
Well, you don't know what time of day it is.
This sun travels...
It's morning, isn't it?
The DC is like a 5. Roll it, you pussy.
Alright, I got
roll a 4 and fail it.
Okay, I got a 9.
Because bear in mind that Travise, like, the sun isn't out. It's all covered in cloud and redness. So you'd have to, like, see where the sun was behind all of that. Like, the sword doesn't make the sun come out. And also the sword is away right now. Yeah, if you'd nat 1, you'd have had your eyes closed while trying to look for the sun. Okay, did you say 9? Okay. You can sort of make out from the direction of where the clouds are coming and when the wind catches them a little bit, there's a tiny bit of light coming from further across. So you can tell which way you need to go to get north, you think.
Okay, good.
You think...
Yeah, I still want an answer to the question, Rosie. Where does the sun rise from? Does it come up in the east, like here, or is it different in Travise or in Mercer?
As far as I've decided, it's still exactly the same. But if it was different, your navigation wouldn't be changed. It would just edit accordingly. So basically, you can use it to find north. Yes.
Right. Okay. In that case, north is that way. So, Marissa, please, at a steady, civilized pace, go that way.
I promise nothing.
God damn it.
Arissa, roll me an animal handling for today, please.
Okay, one moment.
Wait, Errol, are you setting the horses free?
No. I typed it wrong.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah, I've got a 20 in total.
Awesome, okay. Yes, you can drive the horses fine, and you go in the direction to which Belgarath pointed you very nicely. And you trot along. Now, I'm going to let you pick, because you've handled it quite well. How fast would you like to go?
Probably at a canter.
A nice gentle canter for you all. Alright. So, as Arissa sets off and the horses rear back, and Kess, you very carefully move your horse out of harm's way and go behind them, would everyone in the wagon please make me a dex saving or strength to hang on to the wagon?
Yeah. I'm just a safe distance away from these people.
Cass, you'll be fine. Ariel,
I'm not gonna roll because I'm sleeping.
You were tucked up under, so you'll be okay. You were tucked up in the corner. Okay.
I was so scared there that you were going to make me fart or something.
No, that's okay. There's more crazy things to happen to you today. It's fine. Okay. Okay, Pug. Pug, you shouldn't have disadvantage today because you've slept, so you're not exhausted anymore.
Okay.
However, your shoulder still hurts from where the shadow thing touched you, but it's no longer draining you of all your energy. Okay.
I'm getting
Pug, you sit bolt upright, being very aware with every movement, making sure that the sword is not getting damaged in your backpack. Belgarath, you manage to sort of slide around, and being used to it from yesterday, you manage to sort of lean forward when you come towards a bump and look ahead of you on the road so you can hang on tight when you see you're about to go around a corner. Enna, for some reason, you are desperately trying to make sure that Ariel is okay, because you can just see him going flying off and disappearing into the middle distance. So you have like a hand cupped over the top of him to make sure he doesn't go flying anywhere, which means that your ride is very uncomfortable and bumpy, but at least you know he's okay.
Aren't I so nice? You're welcome, Errol.
Okay, so you canter along towards the capital. That sounded more like a cat, but never mind. And we have a viewer. Sorry, I'm just getting messages of people who are watching us. Woohoo! Hello. How is your food? I hope it is good. Anyway, so as you're rolling along, Arissa, can you please roll me a perception?
Can you say that again? I didn't hear that.
Arissa, could you please roll me a perception?
Sure.
We go so silent when someone is supposed to do anything.
Because it could
15 total.
Guys. Okay. Can everybody, including you, Kess, please make me a dex saving check?
Am I awake by now?
You will be now. At this point, you'll be awoken. I'll tell you why in a second, but you'll be awoken and you'll need to make a dex save very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not great.
A dex save +3.
Yeah, this is not going well. Another horse.
Y'all are fucked.
Okay.
Of course.
First up, Arissa, with your 15, You are galloping along, and Travise is very, as you're all used to, it's very windswept and desolate, and the land is not what it used to be, and it's fairly open. You're not in a forest, there's no particular path, you're just heading in the direction that Belgrath told you, and occasionally he'll like tap your shoulder and say, oh, a little bit more to the left, or whichever. There's nothing around you, but all of a sudden, coming up within 30 feet of you is a massive black stone tower, and you pull on the horse's reins, as in, fuck! Iceberg! Kind of thing, to make them stop, and they rear to a halt just about 5 feet in front of the tower, and the entire wagon and everyone in it goes, sorry, not a land eagle. So, let me just look at those. Okay, Enna, you just so happened to look up as she noticed the tower and were like, whoa, and managed to hold on tight because you knew you were going to have to stop suddenly. Belgarath, you were not looking forwards at this point, and you are throwing backwards and land over the back of the wagon. Pug, you go flying off the edge of the wagon, and your backpack sort of catches on the edge of it, so you're now like dangling off the side with your legs off the side. Ariel, you wake up completely confused in the air because your wings have sort of naturally saved you when they felt you sort of going flying. And you're almost right up in Enna's face. And Kess, you are cantering along behind this wagon. You barely even notice that a tower has appeared. All you notice is that suddenly Arissa has stopped the wagon, and it suddenly has gone. You see the rest of them go flying. Your horse panics and throws you off the back. You manage to land in a sort of crouch, but you've been thrown off the back of your horse.
Damn it. Okay.
You great stupid ninny!
I'm sorry, it just kind of appeared.
I'm trying to calm down the horse.
It's huge, how did it just kind of appear?
Things are weird. Shut up.
It's a big frickin' black rock, how did you miss it?
And did you see it beforehand?
I wasn't looking forward and I wasn't driving that friggin' wagon!
Maybe you should have been looking then.
Maybe someone else should have been driving that friggin' wagon!
Never. I'm never giving up this position.
Meanwhile now.
I have a position of power and I'm not going to give it up.
Win the revolution.
Okay. So, you guys have now come to a screeching halt. You're right in front of a massive stone black tower. It's got a big black arched door that's on your side right in front of you. And it actually... Oh, I might have a picture actually. Anyone looking on the stream? Yeah. Oh, you're not going to see many spoilers, don't worry. Now, please ignore the fact that there is a moon behind it. It is the daytime still, but it's still quite dark.
Yeah, seriously, how the hell did you miss that?
Okay, maybe it's a magically appearing.
This is one stealthy.
Maybe it had some kind of invisibility spell on it. I don't know. I'm just a bard.
Maybe you just weren't paying attention.
Aww. Arissa, as far as you're aware, there was nothing in front of you, and it literally appeared out of nowhere. Just FYI.
It just appeared. Why can't you understand that? I'm not that dumb. Sometimes.
Can you all please roll me a charisma saving throw?
Ooh, charisma saving throws are fun.
Yes, they are.
Plus 6 helps.
Yeah, I'm proficient in charisma.
Okay, all of you except Pug and Arissa. The tower doors open in front of you, and you hear, Pug and Arissa, this voice sounds a little bit intimidating, but to the rest of you it sounds fairly friendly and inviting, especially after the abrupt day and couple of days you've just had. And it says, "Welcome. Please enter."
Ooh, let's go inside!
I am not on board with this.
Oh, I want to go inside.
I'm not about to just go into random towers who want me to come in. No, thank you.
Wait, are there... checking the picture.
Does that mean I took myself for that? Because I think Arissa would fall for that even if she rolled high.
Arissa and Pug, to you, the voice sounds a little bit scary, and you feel as if you're not compelled by any means. That's not what this role was for. It's more... It's less intriguing and more, man, I feel like I really should. Like when a headmaster is standing by the school gate telling you, come on, hurry up. That kind of feeling.
Okay, I walk in and ask the rest of them, are you chicken? And then go.
I fly up and check through the windows.
Okay, now I have to go. Oh, I ain't no chicken, I know. As confidently as I can.
Don't let yourself be manipulated by the friggin' scareback.
Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, so who was going first? Was it Arissa?
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Okay. Who went after Arissa? Who followed her?
Probably Cass.
Oh, fuck.
Because she was the one calling the others out.
Okay, and then Pug went in as he's no chicken. And Anna, did you skip in merrily as well?
Yes, I'm skipping in. Very happy.
It did sound like you were skipping. I don't know why. Okay, so that's Arissa, Cass, Pug, and Enna. Errol, you're flying up to look in the windows. Was that 24 for looking in?
No, the 24 was the intimidation, the charisma save.
Roll an investigation to look through the windows. And Belgarath, you're the only one left. Are you following them in?
Well, I suppose I'd better just make sure they don't get themselves killed.
In that case, after looking, I fly in as well, because... Well, at their level, because of what happened at the carnival.
Okay. Errol, you look in the windows and see nothing.
Absolutely nothing?
Nope. In fact, it's literally... It's not even like a dark room, you just see blank blackness. That's all you see.
Let's... Uh-oh.
Okay. So, you all get inside, and the tower it's quite big. You can all fit inside. There's like it's a rounded tower, so it's like a round hall that's in front of you. And you go inside. As you all get inside, the torches on the walls ignite, and the doors shut behind you. And the torches spring into life all around, and you're in a round tower room, and you hear the same voice you heard earlier, and it says, "Welcome to the Tower of Tests. How many are you? State your names, please."
Anna! The Tower of who? Can you type it? Sorry.
Yes, I'm typing now, don't worry.
Yeah.
I pull out Summon Dance.
Okay, so far, it's asked you to state your names, and Enna has stated hers. Is anyone else going to say anything, or are you all just going to draw weapons?
My name's Arissa. What's yours?
I am the Tower of Tests. State your names, the rest of you, please.
Yes.
Hi.
I didn't know the last name was Hi.
I'm Pug.
And what is your name, small pixie?
I am Errol.
Thank you. So there are... calculating. 6 players for the Tower of Tests.
Powered by Google, apparently.
Hey, I thought it was fun.
I think it's fun.
Cat, stop destroying stuff.
Welcome, each of you, to the Tower of Tests. Here, you shall be tested in various different ways. If you make it out alive, then you shall be all the richer for it. If you do not make it out alive, then you shall not be richer and most likely dead.
That's usually how it goes when you don't escape alive.
So
Do we get cake when we
there's
win?
prizes to be won. We win things. Yes?
And what kind of prizes would these be? Just metagaming here. Is there cake?
The tower does not reply to you. The voice carries on in a sort of trill, and it says, each floor consists of one trial. Any who fail their trial will be trapped. You may release them, but you must surrender your own prizes for this. Success on a trial will win you valuable seconds. If you wish to release one of your fallen trapped members, you will lose seconds of valuable time. When you win, you will use your accumulated seconds to escape or not.
I seem to remember a similar challenge being attempted by a group of brave warriors somewhere in the jungle.
It's a combination of things, okay?
I think this sounds fair enough. I'm excited to try out.
What if we don't want to play?
We welcome your enthusiasm and remind you that as you came in willingly, you are now into play. Please step onto the elevator. And on the other side of the room, this like raised platform of wood appears. And it's like raised a little bit above the floor.
I don't know what an elevator is, but that looks so cool.
Yeah. Well, clearly, whoever doesn't want to play just is afraid of proving their worth.
Well, I don't see we have much of a choice at this point. We can't go out. We can only get on the elevator thing, so may as well just get it over with.
Whoever doesn't play gets trapped, so up to you. But I'm playing.
I'm in.
Yeah, let's do this.
I skip over to the elevator.
Yes.
I'm flying over still with my swords.
Okay. So,
Oh, you know what?
you know what?
Yeah, let's go and get this over.
Instead of my scimitars, I pull out Symphony, the sling.
Okay, noted. Did anyone else want to do anything as you're getting onto the elevator, for want of a better word?
I'll ready my quarter staff, though it's kind of already out, so it doesn't really require much prepping.
Okay.
Okay. I materialize my rapier.
Okay.
Is this like the suit of adventurers?
Sorry?
This is basically adventurers suiting up.
Oh,
Suit up, players! Exactly.
Player one.
Ready, player one. Going up! And the little wooden platform you're on starts to rise magically into the air, and you see the ceiling above you
I
opens.
believe I can fly.
Already can fly, you're a pixie!
You can't fly.
Which is ironic for a pixie.
And the floor rises, and you find yourselves up through the ceiling, and the elevator floor judders, and you see a dark corridor and a door. Level 1. Player 1. Would you please enter through the door and leave the rest of your companions outside? Player 1, Arissa.
There you go. It's all you, Bard.
Oh, this is like the best thing to happen today. Yes!
Good luck, Marissa.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye guys, I'll see you later.
So, what happens now is Arissa disappears through the dark door, which shuts and locks behind her. You guys, now torches light up your way, and you're in a very narrow, dark corridor. You can see along it, and as you walk, it gets higher and higher. And you find yourselves probably about 10 feet higher than you were when you started. And you guys can see on the wall in front of you is a very large map. And it's the map of a maze. There's also little holes in the wall that are glowing with, like, magic. You can't tell what they do yet. And whatever's on the other side is very dark. So you can't see through it.
Do I have, like, time to quickly trace it over onto a piece of paper, the map of the maze?
You can do, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to copy the maze as well.
Okay, you can all do that. While you're doing that, Arissa, you get through the door, and you're in a darkened room. You can't quite see anything yet, and you hear a voice say to you, "Fate is a path of choice." And that's it. It's the only thing it says. And you are stood there, and I'm going to cut back to the other guys. So you guys finish sketching out and copy the maze. Now, as you are looking at it, you can't actually see clearly where all the paths go. There are big squares that are blanked out. You can see a thing that says entrance. Far on the other corner, you can see exit. And you can see 3 dead ends within the maze that are marked with a golden cross, and they say treasure. But what you can't see yet is how to get to them. You can see a few of the paths winding, but they don't join up yet. And what you can see is that there's a magic sort of barrier against it. And it's like a film over the top.
Is there a picture of this, Rosie? No problem, it's not, but...
At the moment, no, because it didn't save properly.
Okay.
Meh.
Okay, that's fine.
I was cross about that. But, imagination would be amazing. So,
can I sling one pebble at the magical shield?
Of course you can. And while you're doing that, can everybody, including Arissa, please roll me initiative so I can get your order?
Wait, there is some...
We kind of missed you that.
Everyone, including Arissa, roll initiative.
Ooh.
That's good, I guess. Yeah. Do I roll anything to try and hit the target? Like the force field?
You can roll to attack. What are you attacking with?
The sling.
Sure, I won't make you roll for that because it just bounces off at the moment with like a...
That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to test.
Okay, so...
Wait a second, what does that do? Do I have a few seconds?
Yeah, nothing's happened yet.
You learn. If you sense magic, you can see a faint aura and check the magic. You can learn it's okay now. No, that's not useful yet.
Okay, your initiative order so far is going Ariel, Arissa, Belgarath, Cass, Enna, Pug. You guys out in the corridor where the maze picture is, you guys hear the voice that says to you, what's it gone? Okay, it says to you, each of you, in turn, can peel off a section of the map, revealing a part of the path. You may then call to your compadre, Arissa, and instruct her where to go. It is up to you if you direct her to treasure or the exit.
Wait, so it's either the exit or treasure?
You could do both. You could do either. It doesn't say she'll die if she doesn't get to the exit. It's just like she could go for the treasure as well. So it depends.
I think that she probably doesn't get out with the treasure if we don't steer towards the exit. So I think the exit is the prime objective here. and we can pick up treasure on the way.
Yeah, let's do that.
How likely is it she's going to follow directions?
Well, let's see and find out.
We're talking about Risha here. She'll probably be very easy. She'll probably follow directions very easily.
Meanwhile,
I can always try to talk to her, to convince her.
Meanwhile,
Did you just say that Arissa is easy?
Arissa, the path in front of you glows a sort of white light, and you can see that you're in a sort of mazy winding path, and the floor, the ceiling, and the walls are lined with mirrors. And it's very confusing trying to tell which way is forward. It's lit sort of by a magical glow, but you have to keep sort of stopping yourself even as you're walking because you can't tell where the corners are, where is straight, where is down, kind of thing. And it's kind of freaky.
Arissa, can you hear us?
Can I hear them?
You can hear them, but it's very, very quiet.
Cass, is that you?
Yes. Do you have directions on where you want to go?
Where are you guys?
Oh,
What?
We're above you, we're looking down, we can see sections of the maze and where they are in relation to you.
I look up and I wave.
You can't see anything. There's a mirrored ceiling above you. You guys can't see her because you can just see like the picture of it, but you can hear her coming back. You can hear her voice coming back to you.
Yeah, so we can let you which way to go.
Yeah. This place is very confusing. I mean, pretty, but confusing.
And it is extra dark. Like you've got about 5 feet of light, but after that it's very, very dark. So, Ariel. The picture in front of you guys glows and the voice says, Ariel. And you may now decide, do you want to peel off a piece of the path? Do you want to try and steer her in a direction towards the treasure or towards an exit?
treasure.
I'd say maybe get some more of the map in front of us so we have the full picture before we try to make any decisions. Alright, fine. I was just trying to give some advice.
Okay, so Ariel, Ariel, can you roll me a perception so that you can understand the path of the map and which way you want to send her?
Perception, right?
Yeah.
That might work. 17 total.
Okay, that's cool. So you peel off a square that's quite close to where it says the entrance is. And there's a path that leads upwards and there's a path that leads to the side. You're 1 square away from where a marker says treasure. So if you send her down the path that goes to the right, she'll head towards treasure. And if you send her upwards, you've got no idea.
I'll send her towards the treasure then.
Okay. So you tell her to go to the right path.
Yes.
Okay. Arissa, in front of you on the floor, the lights start lighting up and they point you towards a fork in the path, and there's one that goes to your left and there's one that goes to your right.
Does anyone have a pen and paper? It might be an idea for someone to map this out.
I've got one, hang on.
Oh, perfect.
Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to find it very difficult to do this sort of thing without, you know, some sort of something to work with.
To be fair, I'm already slightly going. That's why I just kept saying, I want her to head towards the treasure. And not like, I want her to take that path or this path or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Okay, so should we try to map it out if Rosie try to describe it again?
Rosie said she had pen and paper as well, right?
I've got a map that should pop up for you guys in a second.
Okay, that's fine.
Although it is less about where she's going and more about what you want her to do at this point.
Do I roll persuasion to try and like convince her that the direction
But she doesn't know where you're directing her.
No, but like that, trying to actually make her follow the directions for sure.
Well, that depends. Arissa, he's told you to go to the right, and you can see a fork in the path. Where do you want to go?
I'll go right.
Okay,
I have
in
no
that
idea
case,
what's going on. I'm going to listen.
Okay. In which case, you can head to the right. So, you guys up ahead get to have a conversation at this point while she's walking for a little bit. So, do you guys want to send her towards treasure? Those of you who are because the next person who will have a go to direct her is Belgarath.
So what?
So, would you like to direct her towards treasure, or
how about we aim her for the treasure and then like head to the exit straight after that?
Okay, yeah, that seems simple. We can get one piece of treasure and then make for the exit as quick as we can. I mean, if we can pick up another bit of treasure along the way, then grand. But
yeah, but we don't need all the treasure if it means sacrificing the chance of...
No, I understand that. That's what I mean. We can, get one, then point us towards the exit. If she is able to pick up some extra along the way, then great, but it's not a priority.
I'm in favour of that.
and are you going to say any of this to Arissa?
Well, I mean, I'll relay what we've just said to her, yeah.
Yeah, well, because at this point she doesn't even know that there is treasure.
Oh, right, okay.
So
And she
perhaps
doesn't
not
have
a
to know.
good idea to mention it.
Well, actually, given her kind of short attention span, I think I'm going to keep the treasure thing to myself for a while. If someone else wants to tell her, then fine, but I'm not going to mention it yet. So I'm just going to say, I'm just going to let her know that there is an item of treasure ahead, so we're going to steer her towards that and then towards the exit. And then do I have to pick a selection of wall to move or something?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, I will continue the way that Errol kind of started and try and direct her again towards the golden X.
The first golden X for the treasure, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear someone swallowing, it's really funny.
That was me, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a bad thing, it's fine, it was just funny.
I'm enjoying watching the stream right now.
Are you?
Yes, because currently you're building the maze.
I was just texting her about that.
Yep. But you guys can't see it, so it's fine.
Because we're not watching the stream at all.
No, it's fine.
Wait, what was it we can't see?
You can't see them. Actually, no, it doesn't matter if you can see the maze, because that's not really going to affect anything. Anyway. This is the beauty of DMing live. It's amazing. I like everyone's noises. It's all quiet and attentive, and I'm enjoying it too.
Oh, we're just waiting.
No?
Waiting for Dean.
I'm pretending it's quiet and attentiveness. That's what I'm pretending.
No, she's using her imagination.
Wait, us? What? Nah.
No, it doesn't happen. Never happens. I understand
I
that.
just realized, I just found something. And I don't understand why on earth there's a fidget spinner emoji in my emoji list.
I don't think I'll ever understand that. Okay.
There's a purple whale.
There's a purple whale? That's amazing. Okay. So. Gonna send you guys the maze. Because it's less about the actual maze, like where it goes. It's more about how long it takes you to do it and whether you decide to send it towards the treasure or not, etc, etc. Okay. So, you have sent her, for the sake of argument, down the right-hand path towards the treasure. Yeah. Belgarath, you peel off the next section, which will be the western side, bang in the middle where that gold X is. You can peel it off, and you can now see, bugger, you can't actually get to it from there. She's going to have to go back on herself. Because you thought you were sending her directly towards the X. However, she has to now go back. So, Arissa, you're now going to have more instructions.
Hang on a minute, I'm confused. Whereabouts in the maze is she at the moment?
Okay, see where the start is? At the top. Yep. So, you guys could see the 2 golden X's for treasure. Also, whoever's got my phone, so, both of you and Ariel decided to send her towards the X that's on the west side. Because that was the closest one to the
Okay.
So, she then went down this path that way. However, you've now peeled off the section of the map where the X is, and you can now see that to get there, she's going to have to go back and go the other way.
Right, okay.
Because it's now down a corridor that you didn't anticipate. Hence the whole idea of the tower, which is, do you send them for the treasure or do you value their life more? Just saying, guys. Never mind.
We value treasure more than life, so...
I think we've established this already.
Not all of us value treasure more than life, thank you.
Yeah, most of us do that.
Yeah. If you want her to get to the treasure, you're going to have to send her back and send her down another path. So, don't get too complicated about which path to follow. It's more about how you communicate with each other. So, what are you going to say to Arissa now?
It's not my turn to talk yet. Who's the
It
next?
can be, because you peeled the map off.
Right, okay. Well, from what I can see, she'll have to go back on herself to reach the exit anyway, so I'm guessing I'll just let her know that she has to go back on herself out of the way.
Okay, Arissa, are you going to listen to them?
You haven't checked your private message, have you, Rosa?
No, I haven't got one yet. As in, I haven't got to it yet, sorry.
Arissa is AFK at the moment.
Okay, she's following directions. Okay, so she's going to turn back on herself.
Yep.
And she's going to go back towards the top bit. You guys can see, if you're on the stream, you can see my mouse, but I don't think you can. You guys can see where the path that goes down towards the exit is, but you can see as far as that. So, the next person to peel off is Kess. So, which section do you want to peel off? For the sake of it, I'm going to say you can peel off the section that is the top right, middle right, bottom right, or bottom left.
Okay, so which part of it can we see?
You can see from the golden cross on the left up to the start, so like that little quarter chunk, but you can't see the other three quarters of the maze. You can't see yet.
There are 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I can see the way that she should be going, but I don't know what comes before that.
Yeah.
What comes after that. So basically, I want to peel off the top right section.
Okay.
So that we know what's coming after where she's going?
So, you can now send her in the right way to get towards the exit and the treasure, because they both go down the same path. It's almost like I planned this. This is a really good maze. I've used this maze maker before, you see. So, Kess, without getting too complicated, you can now send her down the right-hand path to go towards treasure, definitely, or a left-hand path to go up and round and potentially get to the other treasure and or the exit. So do you want the definite treasure, the maybe exit, or the maybe exit and treasure? What do you think?
Definite treasure, of course.
Okay. So now Mercer is still following your instructions, so she's going to head down towards the treasure. And
you can't get it wrong with this.
Okay. And Arissa says that she's found a treasure chest. And you hear her open it, and you hear, "Oh!" And then that's it. And then she asks where to go next.
And we ask, what the hell's in there? What did you see?
What did you find?
And she says she can't tell you.
What? Why not?
What?
She says, I just can't. So where do you want me to go next, guys?
We're not going to tell you where to go until you tell us what's in there.
We're going to leave you in that maze if you don't tell us.
No, really can't. Really can't.
Why?
Can you at least take it with you, or do you have to leave it there?
Like, can you say if it's valuable?
Is it magic?
It's not a fucking talking sword again, is it?
This one makes it dark.
Oh, that's fine. I can have that.
If you both hold out your swords, nothing will happen. They'll cancel each other out.
Well, in fairness, I have a nice rapier. Oh.
Nah.
Oh, but just look at it, isn't it beautiful? And yeah, if you examine it, it's kind of made of shadowy. It's dark.
No offense, Cass, but I'm really more interested in the treasure chest that we also just found, not in your rapier. So I just want to find out what the hell's in there.
But Arissa is not responding.
Well,
because Arissa
she will be soon. I've just talked to her on the stream. I think she can talk for herself. And
Oh yes, I'm back.
yay!
Welcome back.
So, treasure, what is it? Take it. What's happening?
I've got it. I'll show you it later.
Okay.
Wait, did you pick it up?
Of course I did.
All of it.
I picked up what I could pick up.
So there's...
Is it?
Is there still some treasure left there?
Guys,
Need to go and get the rest of the treasure.
guys, does anybody else remember the fact? Does anybody else remember the fact that they said that seconds were like valuable in here because of our escape from this fucking tower? Perhaps we should.
Yeah, Pixie has a good point. How about we quit the quibbling about something that really doesn't matter and move?
We'll talk about the value of the treasure later.
Okay, fine.
You know, let's first focus on surviving.
okay, so Enna, you're the next person who can tear off a piece of the map. You have got like the top half of it now, so I'm going to say you can do the bottom right, so sort of between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. You can do the bottom middle, so between like 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock, or you can do the bottom left, which is between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Boom!
The bottom left is where she is now, isn't it?
No, she's on the top right. Well, top right heading towards the middle. She's gone towards the treasure, but she's come back on herself. So she's sort of in on a par with where 3 o'clock would be.
So then I want between, was it 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, where we can't see? Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, awesome. Okays. And would you like to send her around towards the exit, or would you like to send her back around the other way to try and get the other treasure?
Oh, I'm tempted to say the other treasure.
Be wary that if we run out of time, we'll lose the one treasure that she has.
Okay. Okay, I'll go exit. We'll lead her toward the exit.
Okay.
But at the other time, we haven't been given a time limit, so might as well just...
Seconds are valuable. Every win you can use in your escape. If you don't escape, you die. That's what the tower said. So possibly we have a time limit, except we don't know how much time we have.
Yeah, so let's just go for the exit.
But this is getting scared, because unless you're told about a time limit, you can assume it's infinite.
Except when the tower specifies moments are valuable.
Tower, what is the time limit for this task?
It says nothing.
Oh dear, tower tests. Okay.
It says
I'll
nothing.
assume there's no time limit then.
I think
Did I miss it? Did I miss the tower's response there? And what happened?
Nope, the tower said nothing. Pug.
The majority want to go towards the exit, so I think, majority rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marissa, are you going to go the way they are describing to you?
I shall.
Marvellous. Okay.
Did she hear us debating the matter of seconds, no time limit thing?
No, in order to speak to her, you have to, be quite loud and go through the little holes in the wall, so she probably won't have heard you just talking about it.
Good.
Okay, Arissa, you head on back the way you came, and you start curving around, going up and to the right. Again, it's very confusing, and you find yourself feeling a little bit... almost dazed, a little bit dizzy. Can you roll me a charisma save, Arissa?
Yeah.
And while she's doing that, Pug, do you want to continue leading her toward the exit, or try to send her back towards treasure?
I think I'm going to lead her towards the...
I'm assuming you said exit then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alright. In which case, you don't need to peel off anything else, because you've got enough of the map that you can lead her down there. And Arissa, you... where's it gone? Okay. Arissa, you feel very, very dazed, and as you're walking along, you find yourself sort of staring around at the duplicates of yourself and feeling a bit spacey, a bit weird, and you can't really feel your feet as they're walking along. You take directions from Pug as he's calling to you and saying, once you get to this bit, turn to the right. And you turn and you feel yourself doing it, and you almost feel yourself floating away up out of your body, and you start to have this little weird sort of daydream in your head as you're walking around, and you can sort of see yourself far below you, but you're walking around a sort of city, like a city street with bustling people, and Varric is next to you and he's chomping on some bread. And there's others there, and you think you've seen them before, but you're not sure where, you just can't place them. Maybe they're from a dream or some old story or something. And it's daylight, and it's not Travise. And suddenly you blink, and you're sort of staring at yourself in a mirror because you walked almost directly into it, and Pug is saying to you to turn. And you blink at yourself in the mirror and sort of shake your head a bit, and then you carry on walking.
That was weird.
It's just the kind of attitude I would expect from Marissa. You get to a small round room in the middle, and there's a little door and a wooden plaque that says exit.
Guys, am I okay to go towards the exit? Because this place is making me feel weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, go towards the exit.
Okay, you get out and you get magically lifted again on a little floor. And she comes out and she's on the same little bit of corridor as you are, next to the picture of the maze on the wall. And yep, she's on the same place as you, so you can all see her now.
So what is the treasure?
Show me, show me, show me, show me, show me, show me.
Matter.
Yeah, we gotta know what this treasure is.
Yes, I'm dying to know.
Matter of seconds.
I kind of pat my pockets and then go, I think I dropped it.
Right back inside you go to go back and get the treasure.
Matter of seconds.
I don't think it works that way. I think it's exit only.
You know, the same with like how we entered this tower.
But the treasure.
I just rolled inside.
Okay. Arissa, do you want to roll against that? Do you want to roll deception, Arissa?
What about I roll? Just a d20?
Yeah, add your deception.
Modifier if you have a modifier to deception. Well, if you are doing deception.
Yes, maybe I have personal messaged her and told her that because she's telling the truth, she can just fake a roll.
Dun dun dun.
That's a very subtle way of saying check your private messages.
Ooh.
Okay, Cass, you're not 100% sure that she really did lose this treasure. You think maybe she's keeping it for herself somehow?
So do we need to hold her down and pat her down to see if she's actually hiding the treasure? This is what I'm feeling. That needs to happen. Anyone else? Come on.
Can I speak up for a second? Tower, can we go to the next level?
No, it hasn't called on us yet.
That's what I'm trying to ask you.
It doesn't respond to you, although you do hear a cool voice that starts speaking over you that says, Level 1 passed. 10 seconds acquired.
Level 1. Good. 10 seconds.
Only 10 seconds. Okay. How many seconds do we have? Like
10 at this point, as far as we know.
okay.
I mean, I understand that having drank a fair bit of ale in your life, maths are quite difficult. But 0 plus 10 should we're even for half of you.
Wow, you're so funny. Oh.
Please rejoin the next elevator and ascend to level 2.
I fly over.
There's like an elevator thing in the corner now. Are you going to get on it?
Yeah,
let's do it.
All the enthusiasm.
We're not getting this treasure back. So.
Yeah, I'm losing my enthusiasm if we've lost the treasure. I'm very upset right now.
Well, you may have
I'm
the
getting
treasure.
tired and hungry, to be honest.
Arissa may have the
just
treasure. It could be fine. So you get up to the top, and you find yourselves. There's a corridor and there's a door, and it says, Level 2. Player 2, please enter through the door. Other contestants down the corridor. Player 2, Belgarath.
Oh, joy and rapture.
So Belgarath is
Goodbye,
heading on
Belgarath.
the door.
Right, yeah, I head on down the corridor.
Okay. So, well, no, you're going through the door. The rest of them are going down the corridor.
Oh, sorry, yeah, my mistake. Okay, I'll go through the door.
Okay, you go through the door and instantly your world becomes pitch black. You hear the door lock behind you. Magic. It's like a magical lock. You don't hear someone behind you turn it, just to be clear. And the entire world around you goes pitch black. Meanwhile, in the corridor, all 5 of you hear the voice say, "Please stand on an allotted slot." And there are these like magic, it looks like a pulsating sort of step, and there's 5 of them. And you can sort of stand on each of them. Ariel, you could flutter down and sort of stand on it. It'll be big, way bigger than you, but you could still stand on it. So are you all going to stand on it?
Yeah, I'm going to stand on one.
Okay, cool. I just realised I was looking for my pen, and I put another one behind my ear, so now I've got one behind each ear, and I still couldn't find one. Anyway. So, once you've all stood on these pressure points, you all feel a rushing around your feet, and you feel yourselves pulled through the air magically, and you all reappear inside another room. And as you look around, you're all stood on different sections of a very narrow path, and you can see each other dotted about the room, and you can all see Belgarath on the far side of the room, all the way on the other side, looking very confused, standing right by the door. Right below all of you, to either side of the narrow path that sort of winds its way across the room, is a fire pit. And you can see it, like, below you. Flames licking up the sides, and you can feel the heat against your faces. Belgarath, you and only you hear the voice say, "You loathe these eyes so much. Let's see how you fare without them."
Okay.
You can see nothing. Everything is completely black. Everyone else in the room, you hear the voice say, "Belgarath is now totally blind. You must each lead him along the path to the exit. Fail, and he shall be trapped."
So there's no treasure in this room?
Not that you can see, no.
Oh, come on.
Can I fly up?
Yes, it is very, 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 very hot. Arissa, would you like to roll me a d20, please?
Sorry.
Okay, one moment.
Just to let all our millions of viewers on the live stream know, Arissa has a fantastic character quirk, which means that if she gets far too hot and or excited, or both, she feels the compulsion to take clothes off. Thank you. Compulsory need to take clothes off.
It sounds like the sort of thing they come up in an anime, to be honest.
18. Okay, Arissa, you are too nervous and confused about what the hell is going on and trying not to fall off this very narrow path yourself to really notice that you're feeling hot and everything. So you're for once in your precious, precious life, you are very focused.
Oh, poor girl.
Okay, so
then basically there's a fire pit, and can we see anything else?
you can see below you is the fire pit. You can see a very narrow path that winds across the room. Each of you are stood on a little plinth, like at an interval, and there's another plinth next to the next person. So have any of you ever seen those wire walks where you go from tree to tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially what you guys are is you guys would have to lead Belgarath, and you can decide whether you physically lead him or you do it with your voice, and you take him around the path to the next stop point, and then the next person takes over because you can't fit 3 of you on the path at once. So you have to pass in between you.
That sounds like the easiest option, because He's blind. He's gonna fall off very easily.
Okay, so while the others are deciding about what they're doing, I scout the room for treasures.
Okay, roll a perception. And can everyone roll me initiative for the order in which you have to do things?
Which one do I roll first?
Roll a perception to have a look, and then do me your initiative.
Oh, this is... Perception is 18. And then I have 11 on initiative.
Okay.
Belgarath is last to act.
Okay.
To get a pug.
Okay. Kaz, you cannot see any treasure. Okay, so the order you're in so far is... This could work quite nicely, actually, because your initiative order currently goes... Hold on. Okay. Your initiative order is currently going to go Ariel, Enna, Kess, Arissa, Pug, and then Belgarath at the end, which actually works very well because Belgarath can then be in charge of his own fate getting towards the door. So, Ariel, you are on the first platform. You've materialised. You're on the first platform. You are closest to Belgarath. You have to lead him somehow, however you choose, along a very narrow path and get him to the next stopping point and swap him over to Enna. Belgarath, you did not hear the voice give them the instructions on what to do, so you just heard it tell you about your eyes and that you were blind, and that's it. So
do you not know that the others are in there as well?
Nope, you have no idea. So, Ariel, do you now want to shout to him? What do you want to do?
I let go of the warrior thing and I fly over to him.
Okay.
Belgarath, do you trust us? Because it might be useful to get you out of here.
Okay, first of all, where am I? What's going on? Who else is here?
Everybody's here at various points in the room, and we're going to lead you to the exit. If you trust us enough to follow us.
Well, I don't really have much of a choice, do I?
Not really, but... It was nice of you. I thought it was nice of me to ask before I did this.
No, I appreciate that, but yeah, I'm completely blind, so lead on.
I pixie dust him.
What exactly is this tower testing? Because all these tasks seem a bit too easy.
Okay.
So far it's been teamwork.
The pixie dust doesn't work.
Fuck! That was the one thing I had, like, an idea of. But, ooh, he's blind because of the darkness, right? I cast Pixie Light.
Okay, the Pixie Light lights up the room extra for you guys. Belgarath, you still can't see anything.
Fuck!
Yes. Stupid light.
Okay, in that case, I, like, fly above him, and then, like right next to him on his shoulder, and just like going small step, like that.
Okay.
Because well, tugging on him doesn't work myself.
Okay, Belgarath, can you please roll me either an athletics or acrobatics, whichever you're best at?
Who can I fly next to, like his feet, and guide them towards the tightrope thingy slightly?
I mean, you can try. It might be more distracting to have something pulling on your feet, but sure.
Yeah, but only if he like is about to really step next to it or something. I'm not hitting at all.
Okay, athletics. I think it was athletics is a strength one. I got a 7.
Okay.
And do I roll anything to try and
well,
guide
Belgarath, you're letting him help you, aren't you? So you can roll that again with advantage now.
Okay. Yeah, I got a 12 that time.
Okay, 12, that's alright. Okay, Belgarath, you step onto this very narrow path. It feels slightly wobbly, and it naturally just it makes you feel you don't like it. It's horrible. However, you have to put all your trust into the tiny little pixie voice, and you listen to him, and you guide your feet, and you slowly, you can feel suddenly heat all around you, and it makes you reel for a second, and you wobble on the path, but you're okay.
There's fire, so perhaps you should be careful.
Oh, right. Well, thanks for the warning there.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I just go on guiding feet to slowly.
As the flames burn beneath you and you feel an intense heat that starts at your ankles and gets further up, it hits your face and you can feel it really hot, like your ankles are starting to sweat, Belgarath. And as you let go, you finally find that you can put both feet together and you've reached some sort of platform. Ariel, you've taken him as far as you can go. Enna, it's now your turn to try and persuade him to go with you.
I'll quickly say to Belgrad before I leave, Anna's up next. Good luck. And I float back.
Okay, I go up to him and I just say, okay, well, you have no choice, you have to trust me and do what I tell you to do.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn with my back to him, so we're both facing the same direction, and just grab his arms behind me, and then just tell him take really small little baby steps and start walking really slowly.
Okay, awesome.
Oh shit. Is that a save?
Can everyone in the room please roll me a Constitution save?
Everyone. Oh god.
I am rolling like crap today.
Oof,
Oh, Pug, no!
Yeah, I'm not overly excited about what's about to happen.
Well, you set fire to the end, of course.
What is the weak one?
Okay.
Aren't you used to that by now?
Okay. Everybody, except for Arissa and Pug, you are very warm, the air is very hot and sooty. You can blink, your eyes are sort of streaming a little bit from the heat, but you're okay. You're keeping an eye and a focus on Belgarath and the path, and each of you are maybe looking forward to the path you're going to have to lead him along, just to get it in your brain and where you're going and exactly what it is, because it is very narrow. Arissa, you catch some soot and some smoke in your throat and you start to cough a little bit. So if you're talking to someone, you're going to have to maybe speak twice. You're going to have to catch it in your throat quite a lot. Pug, you are overcome with the smoke. You've got streaming eyes and you cannot speak. You've got it. It's caught in your throat. You're wheezing and coughing.
Okay.
You guys sound awful.
Could you spit your lungs out a bit more quietly?
Okay. Enna, you are now leading Belgarath. So Belgarath, can you please roll, your athletics or your acrobatics, and Enna, can you roll the same, seeing as you're physically leading him, please?
So, what am I rolling?
Athletics or acrobatics, whichever you're best at.
Yay! 20!
Well, someone's not falling in the fire. And someone else is. Okay, in possibly, and everyone watching, except for Pug, you can't really see this because your eyes are streaming too much. And Arissa, as a bard, you feel a particular surge of pride. In an almost, reminiscent of that circus where you watch the tightrope walkers walking in unison together, Enna and Belgarath stepping almost exactly at the same time with the same foot, Belgarath holding onto her shoulders, her holding onto his hands behind her. They step almost beautifully in sync, and as if there was music playing behind them, they sort of go, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. And they beautifully, without wobbling for a second, manage to get to the next platform. Enna sets Belgarath down,
that was true.
Kess, you are up next.
Okay.
She pushes him in the end.
Well, I'm not going to be touching a disgusting squish flame, but I'm sure I can help you on the way. And I can
I feel like I'm in safe hands.
Yeah, so just go straight. I use my rapier to just prod him along.
Not that I have any doubt in Kess's ability or commitment to keeping me alive, but I think I'm going to do this stretch on my hands and knees and go very, very carefully.
Okay,
Hurry up! All the seconds count.
Belgarath, can you just make me a straight athletics or acrobatics check, but you don't get advantage on this one, I'm afraid.
No advantages, you say?
No.
I'm totally guiding him.
Great teamwork, guys.
We're only slightly trying to...
10. Okay. As you crawl along, as you reach a bend in the path, and Cass is saying, "Oh, turn, turn," and you're in your head going, "What? What the fucking what?" Your hand slips.
You know, shockingly, that's not actually that helpful.
So
I'm sorry.
your hand slips, and for an instant you feel as if your entire body is going to slip with it, and your hand brushes like the top of the very licking flames, and instantly you recoil back and try and sit up a little bit and desperately hold on to the ground and sit there panting for a few seconds, and then you feel Kess's encouraging nudge with the was it your rapier you were nudging him with?
Rapier, yeah.
And you feel it in like your left shoulder, as if to say, turn to the right a little bit, turn to the right a little bit, and you sort of growl, and you can continue crawling on your hands and knees, and eventually you find your way to the next platform, where you are greeted by a coughing Arissa.
Okay, here we go. Right, so I'm going to need you to take me the next bit, I think.
Instead of like talking any further, I just kind of grab his hands and put them on my waist and essentially do what Anna did.
Okay, can you each roll either athletics or acrobatics, whichever you're best at?
Do I get a advantage this time?
No, she's going to lead you, so you'll both roll together instead of getting the advantage.
Well, that's basically it then. No?
Okay. What it does my end, basically, is if you're both together, it reduces the DC. If someone helps you, then you get advantage on it. So the DC stays the same. That's how I work it in my brain anyway, if that makes any sense. And Arissa, what have you got for your athletics or acrobatics? Nice! Okay, so it's a 13 for Belgarath and a 21 for Arissa. Because she's in front and she's leading you, Belgarath, anytime you even start to wobble, she's instantly there and she's caught you and she's holding you in place. And you keep walking, and it's a very tight, it's getting curvier and tighter as you're walking along, and this one is particularly difficult, you're finding, but you're gripping onto this human more than you ever thought you ever would, particularly this morning when she was, you know, driving the wagon. And eventually you reach the next platform, and Arissa lets you go, and you are greeted by, oh god, the streamy-eyed, unable to speak Pug.
Okay.
Good luck.
So I'm coughing horrendous and can't see. So I'm gonna feel around, try to grab his hand a little bit.
This is literally going to be the blind leading the blind.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. So I guess I'm gonna do my best to just lead him down the path.
Okay, and are you going to go in front?
Yeah.
Just for giggles, can I distract them?
Oh my god.
Okay.
That's it, I'm done. Goodbye, good night. Bye.
Cass, how would you like to distract them?
Make some noises to make them jumpy.
Okay.
Wait, is Kes trying to kill us now? When did that happen?
Cass is making donkey noises. Nice.
Okay, Pug, can you roll either athletics or acrobatics with disadvantage? And Belgarath, can you do the same with disadvantage? Oh wow.
Oh.
Alright. Pug with streaming eyes and a catch in your throat. You start walking along this very narrow piece of path that you can barely see. The only thing you're trying to focus on is the light of the flames that's coming up either side, and you're focusing on the dark bit. And you feel like this is all going more well than you could possibly have imagined. And then all of a sudden you feel Belgarath sort of slightly sway just behind you. And then you hear this random noise from somewhere in the room. And you stagger. And Belgarath behind you, having already staggered, sways and starts to fall completely to the right and catches your arm, and with the other arm catches your backpack. And Pug, you land... Ooh.
On the platform.
Pug, you land with one leg either side of the narrow path. Belgarath,
Just the best day ever for me, jeez.
Belgarath, you land with your left knee hooked over the narrow path, your hand on Pug's right arm. Actually, it's digging into his shoulder, so it's going to hurt because that's where his wound is. And your other hand is on his backpack. Pug, you are now very painfully aware of three things. 1, your crotch hurts. 2, your shoulder fucking hurts. 3, his hand is near the sword and he might go flying and take the sword with him.
Okay. Well, instinctively I'm gonna jerk my backpack out of the way of his hand.
Okay, Belgarath, you feel your left hand thrown off the backpack and you struggle to find the path. Roll me a athletics or acrobatics. Okay, you managed to grab the path just ahead of your knee, and you're now half hooked over it, and your other arm is like hoiked up in the air, grabbing onto Pug's right shoulder.
Okay. So am I just like hanging over the abyss now?
You're now hanging over the abyss. You don't even know what the abyss looks like. You can just imagine fire because you can hear it and you can smell it and you can feel it. And it's a bit hot. And my god, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And Pug, meanwhile, is going, ah!
Okay. Hear me out on this one, Pug. and I'm saying this out of character, I mean, can imagine that he's saying this, but I'll use my own words just to explain this. So, my idea for this is to take my hand off your shoulder and then cast a fireball and try and use the recoil to kind of push us back onto the path.
Okay, that sounds dangerous. God. Oh shit, I didn't look hard enough.
And bear in mind that you don't quite know where everything is, so that could be interesting. But so you relayed this back to Pug.
If you've got another idea, I'm all ears.
Yeah, that's the best we got right now. Because you're not grabbing my shoulder again. No. And you're not grabbing for the sword either.
Would you two like some help?
I think you've helped enough.
I don't think anyone else can help us at this point, can they?
You can certainly try. None of you are in the same place. There isn't enough room for all of you to be on the same path.
But there is such thing as magic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to try and use. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to cast a very small firebolt, just enough to kind of jolt me up enough so I can get onto the path.
Okay. Roll me a d20 for effectiveness, please. Which means, is it a cantrip?
It's firebolt, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it a cantrip, Belgarath?
Yes, it's a fireball cantrip.
Okay, just because when you roll for your effectiveness, add whether if it's your intelligence or your charisma, whatever it is that you use to make your magic, you can add that.
Right, okay. Then I got an 18.
Okay, awesome. So, you've told Pug what's about to happen?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You blast a fireball, and for one horrible second, you feel as if you've misaimed because everything around you seems to get a whole lot hotter, but you find yourself blasted and ricocheted upwards, and you manage to get onto the path. Are you going to stand up, or are you going to hands and knees it?
I'm going to hands and knees it for the first few minutes just to make sure I've got my balance.
Okay, in which case you'll find yourself face first in Pug's arse, but you are now on the path.
I then stand up.
Okay, Puggywug, what do you want to do? He is now stable on the path behind you, with his head, like, he smacks you in the arse.
Alright, so I'm gonna come.
And that was done without a single drop of rum.
I wish I had that right now. It's gonna. Pug is going to, grab on, try to grab onto his head, and shuffle back on down the path a little bit because as blind as coffee as he is.
Okay, and then are you gonna try and shuffle forwards and get to the platform?
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, can you both please roll me either athletics or acrobatics? And Pug, you can roll yours with disadvantage. Belgarath, you're at disadvantage as well.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
I really hate this disadvantage thing.
Sorry, man.
If only you were more skilled.
Wow! Okay, Pug, you managed to crawl along, feeling your way towards this platform, which isn't too far ahead of you now. Belgarath, you slip again, and you spend the last minute terrifyingly hanging with half of your body over the side, but you manage to grab Pug's backpack and refuse to let go. Pug, realising this and panicking about the fate of your sword, you heave him as hard as you possibly can, fiercely blinking tears out of your eyes, and pretty much bodily throw him onto the next platform, and then spend the next 5 minutes checking that the sword is still there and making sure you're all okay.
Ow.
Okay, Belgarath, you are now on your own. There is the last piece of path. Pug can tell you this, he can see it. There's like one more bit of path. It's a straight line towards the exit. So,
Okay, well, after that horrifying experience, I'm going to be hands and knees in that and basically going to be doing the worm across it.
Okay, can you roll me again with disadvantage one last time, please? Meanwhile, Ariel the Pixie is doing tricks and flipping in the air and laughing at everybody, apparently.
Wow. He's so sympathetic to our plights.
Okay, 10. Belgarath, you managed to...
Had I not had the disadvantage, I would have had a 19 on that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you managed to get all the way across, and when you start fumbling and finding the platform, the world comes back into vision again, and you can see, and as you turn around and look at the room, you can see everyone sort of huddled on their platforms. Yes. You can see everyone huddled on their platforms looking at you sort of like, hey! Well, some of them. Probably Arissa is smiling, and probably Ariel, maybe Enna, and the rest of them sort of don't look very amused.
Just looking derisively.
Pug is so cross with you right now. Like, you hurt his balls, you hurt his sword. Like, oh my god, he's just not happy with you right now.
Yeah. And if we're ever in that situation again, you might just...
and Belgarath, you get a rush of panic as you realise just how narrow these paths you've been walking on are, and you can see the fire pit beneath it burning intense and crazy. But as you turn around, there's a door and it says exit, and there's a door handle.
Well, I'm cheesing out that door.
Okay. As Belgarath opens the door that says exit, every single one of you feels yourselves rushing again, and you all vanish, and you reappear in the same corridor outside of the room. And because it's 11:30, that's where we're going to leave it, except for the fact that you hear the disembodied voice say, Level 2 completed. 20 seconds gained.
How many?
20.
20.
Oh, that's good.
So you have, I'm gonna type it in chat, you have 30 seconds total after level 2.
3 seconds. Well, my notes actually are useful.
Hey! And it says...
Because you're not constantly thinking about food.
That's true. It says, Level 3 up next. Please enter the elevator. And you all pile in, and you reach the next level, and I'll leave it as you hear the voice say, Level 3.
The atrium.
Player 3, please enter through the door. Player 3, Enna. And that's where we'll leave it for now.
Cool, sounds good.
Incentive to make you come back next time. And because we are live, you can all shout Tatty Bear to the recording, and then we're gonna carry on talking without you, ha 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 ha, because we're so cool. So everyone say Tatty Bear.
Tatty Bear.
Thank you for watching live.